dreams, life's not always as it seems. Hide the end, its final beams. Hope is hidden in the seams. Hope is hidden in the seams. Hope is hidden in the seams. Dragons, monsters, big cannons. Flame like priest with pen in hand. Sculpting skylines from the sand. The world crumbles, but he still stands. The world crumbles, but he still stands. Lord MCKAY sets trails ablaze, finding friends along the way. Spirit flows onto the page. A giant of the Iron Age comes a fighter with his heart made of skull but bleeding art. In the book he found his start. Destination said he will go far. He will go far. Dragons, monsters, big cannons. Flame like priest with pen in hand. Sculpting skylines from the sand. The world crumbles, but he still stands. The world crumbles, but he still stands. Still stands. Lord MCKAY sets trails ablaze, finding friends along the way. Spirit flows onto the page. Sculpting skylines from the sand. The world crumbles, but he still stands. Life's not always as it seems. Hope is hidden in the seams. Hunty and his smile beams. Hope is hidden in the seams. 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 Dragons, monsters, big cannons. Flame like priest with pen in hand. Sculpting skylines from the sand. The world crumbles, but he still stands. The world crumbles, but he still stands. Still stands. World crumbles, but he still stands. Still stands. He still stands. Finding friends along the way. Spirit flows onto the page. Sculpting skylines from the sand. The world crumbles, but he still stands. The world crumbles, but he still stands. Upgrading art, in art, in art, in art. In the book he found his start. Destination set, he will go far, he will go far, he will go far. Finding friends along the way. His spirit flows onto the page. Sculpting skylines from the sand. The world crumbles, but he still stands. Life's not always as it seems. Hope is hidden in the seams. Hope is hidden in the seams. Hope is hidden in the seams. MCKAY the highest tea. Medicine the masses need. High tea the masses need.
Prepare your seamen. It's time to come aboard
on the Iron Seas.
This week we are joined, of course, by Battsauce, and then Justin, and a Mr. Tim
MCKAY.
Evening, folks. My gosh,
Kahuna.
that song was wild. I don't know how you guys. Yeah, wow. Anyways,
AC's gotten
AC.
really good at putting those together. I've done a
Yeah,
few that I've
myself.
been happy with, but he gets it like maybe 80% of the time.
Yeah.
incredible. Anyways,
Crazy propaganda in there about something about high tea. Jesus, I don't know what the hell that is.
I don't know if AC says it's true. It must
Frankly,
be.
we have the highest tea. The highest tea.
Honestly, I'm a little worried about having him on the show. Like right before the show, I went to the bathroom and pumped some roids in my butt, and so just make sure we can.
That
elevate
explains the
tea in this
explosive growth of
Oh,
facial hair you
serious.
have going on there. Yeah.
Oh gosh. Still forgetting how that started again, but yeah, I'm never gonna look
Okay,
back into that.
so you wanted to know? It's just like I don't remember what question you posed, but a joke
You
popped in my
did
head.
an author review of him, and then you mentioned being.
I never
high
did.
tea.
No. It was some random question. That's the thing.
Yeah.
People make fun of me for this, or not make fun of me, but I make sometimes the most, you would think, even-handed posts, just asking a question, trying to get feedback, or just something to the author community saying, what do you think about this? And somehow I just attract some of the most obnoxious, terrible responses. And this time it had to be Battsauce saying, this is a low-tea post.
Yeah, I don't know. I saw the question. I thought of a stupid answer, and I'm just like, I looked at your picture. I'm like, I just feel like this guy's gonna look at this and go, "Oh, jolly gee."
Oh yeah, I laughed. It was instantly. That was like a day maker right there.
He is the captain of the short bus for a reason.
Yeah.
We'll say that.
It was so good.
It's like every now and again, like I have this urge to make a like I don't know, make a funny little post at somebody. I'm like, no, I don't need to today. That's is like, no, today is the day.
I mean, that's with the engine. Like sometimes you get those posts and people flat out mean it, and you're like, wow, okay, good for you. And then you get something like Battsauce, and you're like, sarcastic mother.
No, I felt like I remember I let it up really quickly, being like, it's a joke, because my first thought was to just keep going even harder, but I'm like, I just was dealing with some people recently, and it's just like,
Oh, I wonder.
that don't know any like that. Can't tell a joke at all, and so it's like, okay, I don't want to be hostile,
It was great.
Tim responds, "Wow, that was so mean." And Bats is like, "I know, right?" Wait. So this week we will be discussing Tim's books. We will be discussing science and storytelling, believable characters, and cycles of apocalypse. And AC, you better get in here. I don't know what's going on, but.
Oh, he's not. No, he said he's not showing.
Oh no! And he wanted to talk about some of this stuff too. Rats. All right.
Well,
We got him covered. We did some research, so I think we'll be able to pick up the slack. Okay.
Tim
in
is
his absence.
AC now. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah. All right. Welcome to the Iron Seas, the best show that happens on Tuesday, 9:30 Eastern. Way better than any stupid election debate, whatever that's about. But yeah, this is where we discuss.
We all would
story
definitely
writing.
prefer to be here, right, Justin? All of us. We'd love to be.
Yes, yes. I have. I got my. This one is the debate, and this one is you guys.
Oh,
I
we
mean,
discuss story writing.
we only sort of, occasionally glimpse what you guys are up to.
Speaking of which, Skunks, he
How
had to
dare
get away
you.
from the debate to come hang out with us. That's a based idea there, Skunks. I appreciate it, man.
Absolutely.
But
Well,
yes,
no
we have a
groundhog
movie
killing to
discuss.
report this week. None came across me, so the groundhogs live another week.
The guy kills one groundhog with a dog leash, and we got to hear about it for
Like
all
a
of
man!
I had to put down my
I
grandma's
see,
dog
I
with
see.
my bare hands, and I didn't talk about it this much.
Oh boy.
But no, I had a video that came out this week that was really close to 3K views.
That's crazy.
I was in our Discord complaining because a whole 24 hours went by and I maybe got 20 views. And I'm like, man, I spent like 8 hours on this video. I can't get any views on it. And then just overnight the algorithm hit. I'm like, oh, okay, all right.
I thought he was just effing with us because, because he went from whining one day to like, dude, it's really taken off. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm sure it has.
Yeah, it was quite the turnaround.
which
quite
which video was
turnaround.
that?
Why are orcs such pussies now? I didn't actually title it that. No.
The
I mean,
thumbnail
no, I think I
changed like
titled
10
it
times.
worse.
Didn't you change the name a couple times?
Yeah,
or-
Yeah, I did.
times.
I changed the thumbnail a couple times.
So orcs are black now. That was
Yeah, I
one.
put
And then it was like orcs are
thumbnail.
sensitive
Orcs
or
are
something.
black in big letters. And I took the screenshot of that movie Bright where they literally made orcs
Yeah.
the black people.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
they did that.
which doesn't make any sense because black people also exist in this universe.
Yeah.
Yeah, the main
Like,
character.
wasn't that the one with Will Smith?
Yeah,
it was
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
okay,
movie
yeah.
actually. It was
So
alright.
There you go.
It was
No,
so
no,
what?
Justin, it was not all right.
I thought it was alright.
It's okay, Justin.
Rocky's bad, but Bright. Wow, what a banger.
Rocky's not bad.
Peak
Rocky's
cinema.
boring, and he needs to clean his house before he invites a lady over who should not be staying there on the first date. There, Adrian.
Dude, we have to watch Bright because it's so hysterically bad.
that's
I
we
think I got like 5
really
minutes
actually
in. I
don't
don't
need
know.
to watch that movie ever again. But we did have a movie poll, and it was disaster movies. And this week, The Day After Tomorrow won the poll. Not the good movie films, but a film won the poll. Yeah.
Well, first let's check in on everybody, and then check in on the chat. But real quick, the title of my video was "Writing Orcs Like Sensitive Women." Rings
was
of
it.
Power.
That was it. Yeah, it changed like 3 times, and each time just like, Lord Almighty.
And that's the one the algorithm picked up.
Yeah, Bats is pressing all of the buttons.
Yeah. I'm like, how can I clickbait this? But yeah, Justin, how's your week been?
It's been pretty good. It's only Tuesday, so but I should have some free time to work on some music on this Thursday. So I don't know if it's a secret project or not, but I'm collaborating once again with Chill Kid. That was my most recent release was with him. We are working together. We are teaming up for another Iron Age creator. So what he has given me to play around with is pretty awesome. It's a style of music I haven't done before, but absolutely in my wheelhouse. So I get to play with that, and hopefully we can pull off something special for this person. Who's you'll know who it is.
Genevan hip hop, obviously.
Did Chilkid tell you he spilled the beans? Chilkid?
Yeah.
I told you.
He can't get
That
his yappers
guy.
shut, man. I don't know what to tell you.
I tell you, that guy.
So when should we expect that project to drop, or is it still like no idea at this point?
It's the kind of thing like I do my part, and once it's done, then it's up to the creator when to drop it. Like, and if it's like me, I had artwork commissioned by Animated Moon like 5 years ago on a song, and I was like, dude, I need the speed paint. I'm gonna do a video for it. It's not out, and it's been like 2 years.
Whoa.
So I assume that this person's much more professional. I'd say a handful of months, maybe. But as soon as I have more information, I'll definitely I'll talk about it and stuff.
Drop that link, boy.
All right.
That's what about you, man? How's your week, man?
I already talked about my week.
Oh yeah, you didn't kill a defenseless baby animal this week. Tim, did you kill any animals with a dog leash this week? Just curious. I don't know.
Not that I'm aware, but I mean, I do sleepwalk, so anything could happen.
Not that I'm aware.
Just kidding, I'm kidding.
Blood on your hands.
No,
and a dog leash, like
Wake
Yeah,
up, there's
yeah,
just a
animals
trail
in
of
my neighborhood are
squirrels.
safe, as far as I know. Yeah, it has been. I mean, it's been an insane week. I launched the book on Thursday.
You
I
launched a
my
book?
The Fall of
That
Salvation.
just makes you a beta cuck.
You had to know that was coming.
Jeez. Yeah, so that came out on Thursday, and at the same time, this came out of the blue a few days before. I got asked to fill in for a professor at the college here in Ottawa, Algonquin College.
Whoa.
Yeah, so it was when I finished university. I took about a year in between working government, and then I went to this college for this writing program, and they needed someone to fill in for their main editing course, which is like I'm literally freelance editing 2 books for other authors right now. It couldn't be a better fit, and just the timing was insane. So next thing you know,
I just launched a book. I'm going to tell you punks how to edit.
dude, we can
Yeah,
now say
like-
we've had a professor on this show. Feather in the cap, boys. Feather in the cap.
I'm getting a lot of the professor jokes right about now, but my first time actually seeing the class will be tomorrow. So
Sweet.
that's going to be fun. Anyways.
Immediate fails all around.
Dirty
Yeah.
government
Absolutely.
work.
Actually, there were
no.
leftover assignments that hadn't been marked yet, so I just spent that was actually my day today was marking for the class the first time. So I'm going to know very quick who got the lower marks by the scowls I get in the classroom.
Which of you should go back to middle school? Let's see. You guys need to redo 8th grade basic English. There we go.
Oh man, yeah. So that's gonna be fun. Anyways, yeah. So that's where I'm at.
Nice, dude. Nice. Me, I've just been working and taking a little bit of a creative break. There's enough stuff in my
That's
personal.
kind of gay.
How dare you? This is what. See, look at this little child. This is why we don't leave him in charge. Anyway. But yeah, working a lot, man, and taking a little bit of creative break. Except for I did some voice work for John A. Douglas for his Orktober video.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice,
I was
nice.
messing around. I was trying to create like a background chat track to make it sound like a bunch of orcs walking and grumbling, marching and grumbling, with just my own voice and sounds I can make. Not as easy as I thought it would be, but it came out pretty good.
Yeah, that's
Wait,
fun.
is that's a video with audio that he posted? I just assumed it was like a GIF.
No, yeah, it has audio, dude. You have to check it out.
Oh.
It's good. It's good.
Yeah, check it out.
It's not bad.
It's not bad.
But now it's time to discuss the
chat.
day after tomorrow.
The chat.
No. I was going to take a Royce approach this week, but okay.
All right.
We have Mr. Billy Armstrong, a bunch of people double dipping. We have Skunk's Workshop, B.S. Warren. Let's see.
Jersey. Herman P. Hunter.
Mr. Herman.
I can actually pull people up.
We got a little Brian McCoppin action
for
going
sure.
on. Mr. Florida man
I was
himself.
in the shower. Assuredly.
In the shower.
of course.
He
Where's the
said
shower
he
screen?
said warming up the water now. He's in Florida.
See?
That could mean literally anything.
No, he's in the shower. Guaranteed.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. I'd like to say we've only sent shower selfies pre-show one time, but that's not true.
I think we're the #1 shower stream. I think we can claim that title there, boys.
Somehow I highly doubt it.
I've only streamed from the shower one time. That was one. That was
Yeah. We should do that.
no. Says the marine.
Iron Seas
Says
only
the
fans.
marine. We should all shower together, guys.
Dude, that'd be hilarious. Let's just like all on our phones stream from the shower.
It really brings me
Bathing
back.
suits.
Oops, there goes the phone.
With no announcement, just do it. Just like and act like everything's fine.
I love it. All right, we're doing that. This would have been a good one. Dude.
Tim is like, I am coming back for that one. Boys. Let me know. I will be there. We should get McCoppin. He's always in the shower. There we go.
Tim's like, I'm not. I'll warn you now. I wax, but it's gonna be a good time. Let's go. Oh, cripes. Anyway, so that was us talking about the chat.
We got to that.
Check that off the list. That's you want to lead us in now, or do you want?
because you tried twice already.
Yeah,
all
I
right,
give up.
this week
I
on the Iron Seas poll, we had a day after tomorrow win, and sadly not Sharknado, which would have been a lot more fun.
we all really wanted Shark.
we all
could've-
voted Sharknado.
We could have all just. Why did we put up a poll? We could have just decided. We all wanted Sharknado.
I think we just assumed it would win, but no. This week, a day after tomorrow is the winner, and that is what we're
A
here to
day
talk
after.
about.
Hey, Dave. Not the
That
hey,
name is really dumb.
some. That's the
Sunday.
sequel.
Oh, is it the day? Oh,
That day, yeah.
It is the day
Wait,
after tomorrow.
Did I?
It's
Yeah,
on the
alright, my bad.
thumbnail, man. What are you
Ow.
doing?
It's on the
I'm just
thumbnail,
dyslexic. I don't know,
man.
All right, Justin, give us our little
baby.
sum up.
Synopsis. Summary.
Synopsis. Yeah. That
All right,
word.
so the rundown. A paleoclimatologist, Jack Hall, is in Antarctica. He discovers that a huge ice sheet has sheared off. But what he doesn't know is that this event will trigger a massive climate shift that will affect the world population. Meanwhile, his son Sam is with his friends in New York to attend some sort of nerd event. There, they discover that it has been raining nonstop for the past 3 days. And after a series of weather-related disasters that begin to occur all over the world, everybody realizes the world is about to enter a new ice age without a cute little squirrel trying to get an acorn. And the world population begins trying to evacuate to warmer climates of the south. Jack makes a daring attempt to rescue his son and friends, but just basically gets his friend killed, and his kid's still stuck in New York, trying to not get deleted by super-duper extra bad weather. This movie released in May 28th of the year 2004, 2 decades ago, gentlemen. 20 years have passed since this science truth bomb dropped.
since the
But-
propaganda Dropped.
Budget.
Well,
we'll
get to that.
Budget of $125 million made a cool 552. This movie, I didn't know this. Maybe you knew this. Directed by Roland Emmerich. He directed The Patriot, Independent Day, as well as Godzilla '98. This features.
We're not going to
Dennis
talk about
Quaid.
Stargate, the best movie he made. Okay, fine.
Oh, that
Did he
wasn't
do
on there.
12 as well.
And Stargazers. It stars Dennis Quaid, Jack Gyllenhaal, and Emmy Rossum.
Those
That's the
were
rundown.
words. Wow. Also, the girl who was in the second Karate Kid movie, the love interest, whatever her name
Yes.
is, Kamiko.
Yes.
She's in this movie.
Yeah, I saw her. And I was like,
Tamlin
where
Tamita.
do I know her?
Wait,
Yeah.
which?
The Asian,
The NASA,
Asian
NASA
chick.
scientist.
Oh, this.
She-
Oh, yeah. I was like, wait, where was
Yeah.
there an Asian in the movie? I was like,
She was there.
There's a whole scene set in Japan. What do you mean? Where are the Asians?
oh yeah, there was.
Did
can
you
handle
watch
it
the
again.
movie?
Are there Asians in this movie?
Which, let's talk about that scene. He has a briefcase that's keeping him completely safe, and then he's like, all right, let me stop using this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I don't think that it was gonna. It did its job a little bit, but some of that hail coming down was like the size of a smaller dog. This ain't gonna be. This is not a long-term solution.
Maybe hit
I
his
mean-
fingers. I'm willing to give the benefit of the doubt, you know?
Also, does anyone feel like this is like a left-wing, like wet
Oh,
dream
100%,
kind of film?
man.
Yeah.
A bunch of Americas fleeing across the Mexican border into Mexico. The climate is finally fighting back. It's like this
Yeah,
is
it
what
was-
they've wanted for years.
It was reverse illegal immigration. Yeah. And the only reason that Mexico let us in is because we forgave their dets. I was like, wait. So they weren't even like nice to us. They're just like, all right, you can come in.
Yeah,
now.
this
I'm
is like
wait,
the-
hang on a second.
The biggest piece of fear mongering ever released. Remember, like when it did come out, how people were like legit freaking out, like, oh, do we gotta
No.
do something?
I didn't see it.
I remember just
yeah.
liking the movie and not thinking about that at all when I watched it. But now watching it now, it's so obvious what this movie is. I'm
Yeah.
like,
Honda Fit sales skyrocketed weeks after its release. There's one part in it too. They're talking about how much money they would need to like solve some issue, and they're like, that would cost billions. And I bet Zelensky just watches that and just like,
It'd be a shame if we lost that amount of money. Anyway,
Yeah. Well, so right off the bat, like they was it like one of the opening scenes? I think it's the opening scene. The ice cracks, right? And then
Oh, yeah.
that like statewide.
it's a cool scene.
And I'm assuming that's what causes the wave, right? That comes later, or is that
it's
It was-
not
yeah.
clear.
wave?
It's
Yeah.
not
ice,
clear.
The ice cap I thought melted and raised like the waters or whatever.
Yeah. Well, it's just like, wouldn't they see that coming? It's a
Well,
giant ass
the
wave. How do they miss it?
science in it, and we'll get to more science stuff later.
Yeah.
The science in it is that the ice melts, disrupts the currents in the
Fresh
ocean.
water hitting
That
salt
is
water,
what screws
yeah.
everything up. Exactly.
And then the world gets super cold.
Desalination, boys.
Yeah.
Desalination.
Just
So I look-
global
hey,
warming. It just
The
makes sense.
AI
guys.
says it's possible, but also the thing is, it's like, okay, so that giant thing of ice cracks off into the water, right? It
Also,
doesn't
the
just
drill,
melt immediately.
the 24 inch diameter drill does it. Like that's the straw that broke the giant
That's-
frozen camel's back.
That's
just-
creative license, a little bit of drama. here and
Exactly.
there.
Yeah.
It's because I don't really like the message of this movie. That I'm kind of like,
fair.
Even whenever Dennis Quaid falls in that hole and he's like, oh, and then he's like hanging by one hand. I even told Grace, I'm like, you know how hard that would be to hang by one hand? She's like, his adrenaline's probably going. I was like, fine.
I
But yeah,
was gonna
it's a
say it's
little
because
bit
he's
much.
single, but anyway.
Why did he? What did he need the schematics for?
Yeah. There's a lot of
Like-
questions in this movie.
Well, wait,
What
was
did
it schematics he went back for, or ice cores?
Yeah,
thought
that
I'm
was
was
core
assuming ice
samples.
cores,
I
but
think it
like,
was
who
core
cares?
samples,
Like, the ice is gone now.
yeah. He's just he's very dedicated to his
Well,
work. That's,
I guess if you take those samples and then that happens, you're like, oh my gosh, maybe there's data in those samples that would be really
Ah,
helpful.
Okay. Yeah, I
I'm trying here, boys. I'm trying.
See, here's the thing with me is I watched this movie and it was preachy back then. I feel like it's
so
actually pretty
preachy
mild
now.
compared to a lot of
Oh,
people.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
to
I
me,
don't
it's almost
watch
like a
films. I
breather.
don't really watch films that are preachier than this, though.
Fair.
Well, it's because
Fair.
everybody wasn't shoving it down your throat back then, and
Yeah.
now it's like we look at it with a different lens.
I think
A
it's
little
also
more
a
jaded.
like, despite everything all the criticism I do have of it, it's a well-made movie.
there's a
I
lot
think it's
of
well acted
entertaining
there.
deaths in the movie.
What was that, Battsauce?
I said there's a lot of entertaining deaths in this. Like
He just
you
thinks
know,
it's hilarious when people die. That's his thing.
yeah.
Like
Well, like
it's
when the
king.
storm's going wild and crazy, and like the weatherman gets hit by the sign.
The
half
most
Goblin gets
projected
chewed out by a
death of
tornado.
all, the most projected death of all time. You see that sign coming from like a mile and a half away.
But I
He
love
just-
that. Oh, go
It's
ahead.
wonderful. No,
I
you
like
go
that
ahead.
scene just
I'm just
because-
saying it's just a beautiful moment when you see it. I love it.
Captured to a degree. I actually like that scene a lot because even though it was like, oh, come on, that's these people like reporters and newscasters. They do stuff like that where they're just out
Yeah,
there.
they're
It's-
all up so far up their own ass. I get
It's
it.
just like in Godzilla whenever they're on that tower and they're like, oh, we're on the tower and Godzilla's getting real close. And oh, what's going to happen next? Oh, this is brought to you by, I don't know, this creamer product. And oh, no, now the tower's getting smacked. And then they all,
Yeah, well,
You
now
sound
we
like
can
one of the
replace them
Godzilla
with a drone.
-1 like reporters from the 1950s.
Mm.
Anyway, he's coming up here. Oh, he sure looks angry.
This is-
Why is he getting closer? Ah,
this is
So-
the opposite of the bee's knees. This is not swell at all.
I've legit been in golf ball size hail storms before, out in the desert, and it's usually where you see them. And luckily we're undercover. We were dirt biking when it happened, but I mean, it's not like we were gonna die or anything. Just we had big ass helmets anyway.
we can only hope.
Yeah.
But I don't remember it being particularly windy. Does it? Like, because the whole thing, you get hail from the wind cycling up the raindrops and it just layering on freezing until it gets, in the movie.
I was making flamethrowers in my science class. I'm not sure if you were paying attention. Do not ask me science questions, man. You're not going to get a satisfactory answer.
I'm
Yeah,
not
I was
sure
just
about the
guessing.
wind bats. I don't know.
Yeah, I think
Nobody
we've
know about
experienced
that?
a good amount of hail, and it's never actually
No.
been particularly windy. Usually, it's
So it
straight
must be
shot
the
down.
wind up in
Up
the.
above.
That is how it's created. It's from the
Yeah.
just constantly going up and up. So
I've-
I guess
I've
it doesn't
been on
have
a
to
metal-
be windy
I've been
on
on-
the ground.
I've been installing a metal roof when it starts hailing, and
Roof.
I'll tell you, that's not my favorite place to be.
That would suck. Yeah.
I'm on it. I'm like, if I step anywhere, I'm going down. Okay, well, this is it now.
Yep, Texas. They'd be there too.
What's kind of funny is the car the dad drives. Not to get off the weather, but how does that car get the Honda Fit? Was that actually an electrical car?
Honda
What?
Fit.
The Honda Fit he drives. Is it an electric car?
When he's picking up the sun at the beginning.
I don't.
or-
Yeah.
They didn't have electric cars back then, man. Maybe a
Oh,
hybrid.
okay. How do you
Yeah,
charge
so-
how do you charge an electric car? Where's that energy typically come from?
A plug in your house.
Coal, maybe.
Be a shame if our power grids couldn't actually sustain an all electric driving vehicle. People.
Another cool scene right after that, which before we move too far ahead away from that whole disaster scene, is Hollywood. The Hollywood sign getting destroyed.
Yeah.
I cheered. I was like, "Ugh,
That's
good one."
satisfying.
I was like,
And then
yeah, boy.
the super base janitor who's just doing his job, and the whole face of that building's torn off, and he walks out. He's like, "Oh man, that's not good." I was
Yo,
just like,
the
"Yo,
low-key
that
jokes.
guy's cool."
If I could redo that whole scene of him like opening the door and seeing the devastation, it would be like, well, I guess I'm off early today.
Yeah, but all the low key jokes in this were pretty spot on. Then what happens after? Like we have the big mega storm, and then he's like the son's at the big nerd school having this nerd competition for
Yeah.
something. I don't remember.
It was
They're playing
kinda weird.
Trivia.
playing
It's a trivia
Pokemon cards?
competition. Yeah.
I liked his character in this movie. I mean, his dad, the deal with his dad was a little bit over, like it beat you over the head with it a little bit.
Yeah, we get what you're doing.
I also wondered about the wolves at the end of the film.
Oh, dude, that was so
Oh, that was-
unnecessary.
Yeah.
That was the most criticized aspects of the story.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
it was just absurd.
That whole sequence was a little bit, I don't know.
A little
Like,
over
isn't
the
there
top.
a pharmacy or something you could get to? It's in New York. Can't be that far to get to like a pharmacy rather than having to go on this tanker that happened to park right outside.
Again,
Yeah, don't mind the
if
tanker,
I
but
could-
the
if I-
wolves just
yeah.
took it that one extra level too far. Like,
Yeah,
come on,
that's
you know,
silly.
like, and it's the fact that they projected from the very beginning. You see the wolves, you
Yeah,
know
you
they're
do.
going to be big later.
Where
They
did they
escape,
go?
you know, by some weird chance, they're the only animals to escape from the freaking zoo.
I
All these
almost wonder if
stupid
this
wolves.
movie should have leaned into the absurdism just a little bit more.
That's what 2012 was for. That's what
Oh,
2012
I need to see
Never
that.
watched that. Yeah.
I'm so hit or miss with Roland Emmerich films because like some of them are like Patriot, incredible,
Yeah.
but then you have like this, and then you have that, and you're like, and then some. But then some of his older films are great, and I'm like, I don't know what to think, man.
This
Well, the
movie
thing
was
is, this
fine
did
though.
just well enough that they decided to make another one, and that was 2012. And they just, at that point, abandoned anything that made this one good and just went insane. And, anyways, yeah.
Who's Pointless up?
Hmm?
I don't know.
The comment.
Oh, it must be a channel. One thing that
So,
was cool talking about
Just
the
going
animals.
to P Hub. Okay.
The wolves were bad, but there's a scene early on too where they're like looking at all the birds that are leaving, and that was really
Yeah.
cool. And what's crazy is with this weather that they're having down south. I don't know if the footage was out of North Carolina, but there's a dude just filming a tree in the backyard, and there's like 9 bears up in this tree. The bears could sense the water's coming, and they all went up into the same tree. So it's just crazy, and to see that in that movie, and then I saw that video today on X or whatever. I was like, whoa, that's crazy. That it really is like that. I thought the CGI looked pretty good in this movie overall too.
Oh yeah.
For being 20 years old, pretty convincing.
Actually, I
Well,
thought the
that-
bird CGI was a little bad, but I loved the scene of them flying.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
He-
Otherwise,
he,
the
ha- he,
effects were pretty
he
good.
creates a good sense of scale in his movies. That's
Yeah.
one thing he's never really failed at.
So
Like
we
the
have
wave
the big.
coming in on New York.
I was just about to mention that. Yep, giant ass wave. I mean, well, there's the science scenes that happen before you have the guy chastising the VP, who the entire time. But yeah, no, the giant wave, that was like their moneymaker shot. That was like the commercial, if I believe the trailer. But yeah,
I have things to say about that scene. It's good, but there's a problem, which
What's
is that wave. You would not see that wave coming and then have time to move out of the way. There's just that's not how that
no
works.
way.
It's
The number
just
of
like
times
the-
they
the
shoot
ice
back and
thing, yeah.
forth between Jake Gyllenhaal's character, or and what's her name, Emmy Rossum, the number of times, edit out, yeah, the number of times they like just pan in on them, then zoom back to the wave, then pan in back on them. By the time.
Yep.
Anyways, it's wonderful.
the
Yeah, it's so
forced
stupid.
tension as well. Like, oh, she
Yeah.
cut her leg, and then she's gonna go
Yeah.
back for the lady's passports after they already broke the windshield, and it's like, okay, already, and it's just like, I don't know, lady, the freak, you already got them out of the car. You're gonna have to go back for their passports, and the water's up at the cars. Like, all right,
Yeah.
lady, I helped you enough. Get out of here. This is New York. Like,
little hidden
I'm
gem
walking
in that
here.
scene. But did you guys notice the actor who the annoying businessman, the obnoxious jackass who gets on the
I
bus?
have
No.
seen him, but I don't. Like, I recognize him. I just don't know where I recognize him.
Lewis from Suits.
Oh,
Never seen
okay.
Okay, fair enough. If you haven't
Oh,
seen Suits.
Lewis!
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is his new little
yeah, it was
character.
him.
yeah, that
Good
that
call,
guy.
dude.
Oh man.
It's right there. I was like, who is this guy? I've seen him in
Yep.
something I've never seen before.
Isn't that wild? Anyway, I mean, this came out way before Suits, but now looking back and being like, holy crap, he's the same obnoxious.
It's like the DiCaprio myth. You're like,
Yeah.
Wait. Zoom in, enhance. Also, Bill brings up a good point. He says, talking about 2012 and Day After Tomorrow, basically the disaster kind of climaxes, and then the movies both, like the story slows down majorly in both parts, and it kind of feels like it's the entire like last third or last half is all falling action for the most part.
yep. And
The
that's why
movie's
they're like,
supposed
throw some wolves in there. I don't know.
I mean, the
Like
movie's
we
really all
need
built on
some
those-
finalizing conflict. What about living? What if we treat the ice like a horror movie villain, and then wolves? Yes.
Well, just the ship makes it all the way into New York to the
No, it
library.
came by. I'm
I'm
like,
pr-
stop.
like,
it,
come
stop.
on! How did it make all? And then the bus stops it. Oh, thank God! That how convenient.
That is hilarious. Yeah.
And then then okay, so then the lake freezes over, and everybody's like, okay, it's enough to walk on. I'm like, what? You can
Why do you think that's true?
It also happens very quickly, which I mean, I
yeah.
get how cold, super cold it is when the storm comes in, but even before then, it's the freaking ocean we're talking about here.
Right. And then you're like, okay, that much water just froze in like an hour. We'll be fine. We'll be fine just walking on the
Yep.
river, like,
Yeah.
with no
There was
plan.
a lot of decisions in this movie that I'm like, I don't know that that's the right call. But
I don't know. I don't know, Chief. Yeah, I'm not sure.
The
I did-
wrong call.
Yeah,
Sorry.
you might even use the W word. You might.
I was gonna say the wrong call was trying to convince all those guys to stay there,
Yes.
to stay warm.
Thank you. Thank
'Cause
you.
You
Scared
needed
her,
them to
let them
leave.
go.
Ain't no
They-
way.
they're gonna like they're gonna die soon anyway. Like all of those people with not enough with the amount of supplies they had, no shot. They're all gonna freeze to death in like 2 days if they stay.
Yeah.
Like-
well, they're gonna starve to death. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
there's
they're
no
gonna die.
supplies.
Well, they had a vending
Water.
machines, you know.
Yeah, for like
Well-
5,000
There's-
people.
What are you talking about? All the water just showed up into the city. They got plenty of it.
They got
Salt
water
water.
everywhere.
No, it's desalination, boys. Remember, it got desalinated. Plenty of drinking water. Just out there with a straw.
It's like,
So
don't
this-
worry, I got it from REI. This will work.
Oh, that's funny.
Well, I guess at this point I can mention like what I think the movie should have done, and it shouldn't have been
It's
back
okay,
and
Daddy Quaid found them in time.
we can I don't think the movie should have went back and forth between the kid and the father. They should have picked one or the other. It
kid.
should have been the son just waiting out for his dad, and hopefully this one time he comes through, and then then he comes back with supplies, which he didn't at the end of this movie. Or it's the dad trying to finally make it to his son, and then hopefully he's alive. But seeing those shot the back-to-back story, it's like, well, we know that they're alive. Like, there's no way that they just froze to death. They had the fire.
Wouldn't that be a killer ending for this movie? It's like, that was too late.
Yo, no,
Watch
no,
them,
no.
they're all just frozen.
But,
Can I tell you how I think it should have ended? And it is, okay, how it should have ended is one of two things. When the eye of the storm comes over the freaking library, so they close the doors and you still see the flames start to shudder, right? If it's sending cold air down fast enough to flash freeze buildings and people, that fire is gone.
And
Yeah.
a flag.
So-
well, throwing
So they
more
either
books is
die
hurting
from
it.
that, or if they close the freaking chimney, which they probably should have done, then they all die from smoke inhalation. Either way, they are all dead, and that is how the movie should have ended.
Oh, well, true. There was no opening anyways. They would have died of smoke.
Hang on.
In the
Let's see.
anyways.
Hang on.
But
Wait.
Are you
Chat
trying to
GPT
science this bitch up?
Chat
Don't-
GPT says that there's a chance they actually could have survived that the way they did.
sure. Anyways. Well, don't you love that the dad is
Yo,
able
what's
to
up,
survive last minute with the one guy because
Yeah.
they lit the gas fire stove on,
That
and that
freaking,
was
like,
enough to keep
propane.
them warm.
Like the
It's
little
also the
flame
fact
that's
that
like
he
this
watches
big.
the flag freeze, an inch above his head. Like,
Yeah.
And well, not to mention the gas line works.
yeah,
Wow, you got lucky there, man.
Oh,
Like, what was their
also,
plan?
they made it seem like the ice was sentient. At the end there, like the way they treat it, they treat it like a slasher, like horror, like antagonist, like coming in at the end. I don't know, maybe it's the way they film it, but
well, the way it chases them through the library as they're running back from the
Yeah.
ship, that's my favorite. That's just that.
Yes. I love
Day after
too.
tomorrow.
that they
Whenever
have
they're
to
try-
tomorrow.
They're trying to. The fact nobody said that in this movie really bothered me. I was hoping it would be said repeatedly throughout.
Right.
They would just roll in, but no, they didn't say it once. But what was funny is
What was
whenever they're
the line?
burning,
The day after tomorrow.
guys, it could
No,
happen
just
any
saying the
day.
day
It could
after
happen the
tomorrow.
day after tomorrow. Like that kind of thing. I was hoping to keep going. But whenever they're burning stuff to stay warm, and the guy's like, you can't burn Nietzsche. And she's like, oh, blah, blah, blah. And then one kid's like, yo, I got a whole bunch of tax code. That can go.
Okay.
I was like,
That
yeah.
line's amazing.
That
yeah.
there was that guy had the best lines in the movie. With they're fixing the radio. He's like, if you know, I'm the captain of the chess club, the science
Yeah,
club,
yeah,
the
yeah.
math club. If you know a bigger nerd in here, let me know.
Yeah.
There was that line. The tax. That was an amazing line.
Wait,
all the
Codenomics
medicines
also
in-
didn't they
in German.
freeze the fuel lines in the helicopter? Why would the
Yes.
fuel have worked in the stove?
Right, exactly. That's
Exactly.
the point. But
Yep.
anyways, the all the medicines in German. And he's like, "Oh, I found penicillin. How'd you know?" It says penicillin.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. Nietzsche didn't have a romantic relationship with his sister, though. That bullshit propaganda as well.
I forgot about that actually.
Yeah. They're one of the greatest thinkers ever. Yes, he was. Oh, he was in love with his sister. No, he wasn't. Stop. Revisionist history.
All
You know?
like you know what they should have gone like full ham. You know what this movie needed to add that extra crazy factor? They needed to take the storyline from Independence Day, which Roland Emmerich also did. Like have a guy who was taken out of a boat by a storm a long time ago, and then like at the end when the eye of the storm is on them, the cold's coming in and be like, "Fellas!" Fucking do the same thing, just run up and yell into the sky.
Well, I like the choice of the overall story, right? Like I like the choice that it was like, oh, the father is this big science guy that cares so much for the world, but he's not looking after his family. But now that the big world event is happening, he still has the chance to do the right thing for his family, right?
That was, man.
What's up?
I'm probably alone on this. I thought the dad made a really bad call, and he got his buddy taken out because of his decision to go. I'm just like, he's like,
yeah, because his kid was fine at the end.
Yes,
It made
yes.
no impact that he
And-
let
Right, because they
went.
didn't bring supplies.
We looked up to walk that distance. I think it was something like 30 hours in normal, like clear conditions. It would have taken him like
a week.
several, at
Oh,
least
yeah,
a
it
week,
was
probably
insane.
longer to walk in the snow like that. That's just foolish. And if he passes in the snow,
Crazy.
now his wife doesn't have the husband, and now his son doesn't have the father. I feel like he should have been like, the fact that he could not go back to get his kid. It's the kind of thing, it's just driving him crazy, and then we can just watch the kid the whole time, and we don't care about him and whatever is going on with her in the hospital and that. Cut out like 30 minutes. And then we get back, and then they finally get reconnected at the end, and then he's like, I'm so sorry, I'm quitting my job. I just want to be with you. This was, and that's how he comes to it rather than,
Yeah.
I'm just going to walk there for 3 weeks, and my buddy's going to get taken out, which sucked and felt
It
Well,
just
let's
was-
talk about
I-
that
I-
scene. The freaking cliffhanger scene,
Oh
takes-
yeah.
Like
When
that's
they're
the
on
scene we
top.
ought to be talking.
Yeah.
That is probably my least favorite scene in the movie. I mean,
It's the
especially
worst
when the
scene
guy
in the
takes
movie,
off his
for
freaking
sure.
gloves to hold glass,
Yeah.
Oh,
and it's like
yeah.
slicing into his freaking tendon. Like,
We got you, Frank. We got you.
The whole movie is a lot of forced tension, right?
Yeah.
Like a lot of this is just like the characters are doing something stupid, and it's all to create
What
more
happened? What
tension.
happened with this
Feels
film?
cheating.
Because we've seen Roland Emmerich can make a very high intensity, like high stakes good movie. It felt like this was just everything was forced. It didn't like characters made choices that did not feel like natural progressions, like choices that they would have made in response to their situation. Maybe that's just me.
Yeah. But I like what he says right here. It's like, yeah, Texas got like down to 30 degrees and all the pipes froze.
Texas was like, it's 5 degrees Fahrenheit. We don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
To be fair, that is pretty cold. It's cold enough anyway. It's like it's not like North Dakota or God forbid, but still.
What, 30 degrees?
No, like 5 degrees. It got
Oh,
to
yeah,
5
of
degrees
course.
where my
It's
buddy was
cold,
living.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
With the president, he's trying to escape, and they're like, "Oh, we just got word from the president. He didn't make it. His motorcade didn't make it." I think they even used the word motorcade. I'm like, they didn't have like a presidential snow vehicle, like some kind of tank-looking thing, where you'd be fine in it or something.
Also, if they died, how did you get word?
Quite a lack of just snow vehicles in general. No one has a snowmobile. Like that was weird to me.
To be fair, that's on
Ford?
par for DC.
An ATV?
yeah, that's very believable. Come on.
Yeah, like DC, there's like an inch of snow and the city shuts down.
They
Speaking
don't.
of being able to handle snow, can I had to do a quick conversion because Fahrenheit to Celsius sucks.
Oh
so
yeah, that's right.
you never know.
Oh
Yeah, so I'm
yeah.
in Canada. So you talk to me. So five Fahrenheit. That's negative 15. Celsius. I'm used to probably negative 30, negative 40. That's
In Fahrenheit?
that's our when
Doesn't
our
faze
winters get serious. That's what we're looking at.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
snowboarding.
whatever
That's
that means.
snowboarding weather.
I wear a tank top in up to negative 5 degrees fairly comfortably. After that, I start putting more stuff on. But yeah. Yo, what's up, Maji?
Oh, I like too that the preppy rich kid in everything, like ever when there's a preppy rich kid, they suck and they're jerks and they're terrible people and rich people are the worst.
That was
and they're
just the
out to
late
hurt the
90s,
world.
early 2000s. That was propaganda we were fed. Yeah.
I know, but it's like even now, it's like the rich people are just so often they're all evil, all of them. And this kid was actually likable, and you thought he was gonna be like the jerk that steals the girl. They made him likable, which I appreciate, and none of
I agree.
the crew, the
He
friend
was
group.
pointless though.
It's all right. He was there, and he was like, he was likable. He was just,
Yeah, I
changing,
know,
Created
but,
a
like,
bit of that
stereotype.
tension early, the romantic tension of little competition. Oh crap!
Yeah, but that
He
went
didn't. He
nowhere.
didn't swim
he
into
turns
a
out to be an
subway to
okay
call
guy.
his
I like
dad like the other guy. That's why it's less romantic.
It was so. It just was. I don't know. It felt like a weird addition to the movie because you're like, ooh, we might have a love triangle going on. 5 seconds later, we're like, yeah, we kind of don't want to do the love triangle. And we're like, then why did you bring it up in the first place?
It's like
Yeah, I
a
don't know.
CW
I just
writer
like
was
that it
on
was
on the production for like 2 days. It's like, what about this?
And the whole friend crew, everyone survived, which I appreciate.
You know what? In this movie, just to make it, and this isn't really fair either. It makes it sound like I hate everything about this movie. I really don't. There's a lot to criticize, but at the end of the day, it's still in many ways a well put together movie.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
there are
yeah.
things to appreciate, despite
It's
all that
totally
criticism.
fine. It's just a nice little popcorn flick. You watch it and you have a good enough time, and you move on with your day.
But
To me, the
Rocky's
humor
bad.
was there. The scientists
It's
up
boring.
in like what Greenland or something like that or Iceland.
The old guy who got stuck
Yeah.
there with the other two.
Oh, yeah, I
guys.
forgot about
Yeah.
I
And then-
liked that crew. Yeah.
That their last scene was like one of the best when they're like,
Yes.
what are they? Cheers or they, to this,
Yeah, when
to
they
this.
pull out
To
the
the so- to
12-year-old
the-
scotch and
To the soccer team and to the country.
Oh,
Manchester
to
United.
Manchester United. Yeah.
Such a good line.
to
Such
the
a good
country, to the world.
And this is
Manchester
America.
United.
I'm calling it soccer. So yeah.
Yeah.
Also, speaking of, again, another one of those little cameo facts. Did you guys recognize who that older guy is?
Oh, I recognize him. For
I know.
something.
I've
What
seen him
was it?
before. I just don't know
Can't
what.
remember.
Bilbo Baggins, Lord of the
I
Rings.
was gonna say Bill.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Grace pointed that out, and I was
The
like, "There's
Bilbo,
no
yeah.
way." And then I looked up, and I'm like, "Wait, that's Ian Holm." And I was like, "I know that name too." Yeah, you're
I
right.
was hoping you were gonna let's say another name that I had no idea.
Greta
Like,
Thunberg.
I'm like, all right, Bilbo.
Yeah, the baby
Well,
that
we
was
know-
saved, that was Greta Thundertug. You got it.
Wait. How old is she? Was she even alive when that movie came out?
She's 22 now, so no.
No,
Extra fun fact.
that's wild.
Holy
This
crap.
movie birthed
Oh, wait.
Greta Thunberg.
Hang on, wait, I did math wrong. This movie's 2004, so yeah, that could have been her. You're right, could have been her.
Oh, I was gonna say this movie, like they found this child in the snow. We don't know what it means.
She would have been too. Yeah, it's a little baby. If you turn up the audio, like you send the levels in, you turn it up really loud when the baby's there, you hear it.
It's like a Marvel. It's like a Marvel extra credit, like after credit scene.
The stinger's just her.
Yo, no, it's just her in a crib. Like there's a shot just fades out on her, just like
You
oh,
you
no.
see like a corporeal like a woman in the snow like wave the hand and the breeze lightly pushes the cradle.
Oh, man.
Can we add that? Can we edit that into the end of this movie? Oh, bro. Codenomics
Yes,
says Day After inspired Greta as a. Yeah, of course it probably did, considering her life positions now. I'd be shocked if this isn't one of her favorites.
Yeah.
There's
Honestly.
one moment, like just at the very, very end. I forget if there's something right after it, but when you see the astronauts in the space station and they look out after everything's happened, they're like, "I've never seen air so clear." Like to me, that is that's the only point in the movie where I just thought, could you have preached a misanthropic message any stronger?
Yeah.
Right? Like all these people just died, but we're celebrating this. Hey, the air is clear. Screw you. I don't know. That I hated
That was a
moment.
cringy scene.
Yeah.
He's
That was
so
brutal.
clear, yeah. It's dumb.
The neighbors aren't a problem if there aren't any neighbors, man. I don't know.
Exactly. You know,
Oh, this. Yeah, I'm like, to be frank, if this movie is made in 2023, 2024, holy crap, how much worse would this movie be?
yeah.
Like, there would be people like celebrating how it's like, well, at least the population problem's under control now.
Yeah, really.
Saying crap
This
like
movie
that.
actually-
would be
they're trying.
trolled so hard by all the channels.
For sure.
The movie would be like trolled by all the channels if it came
Yeah.
out
Yeah.
this year. We'd be talking about it.
What's
Oh,
funny,
yeah.
nonstop.
in preparation for the show, I watched the movie on my own, and then I watch a couple of channels I follow, like their reactions of it. And some of them, those channels I follow, are not really, don't lean the same way politically as I do. So when they see the movie, they're not pointing out all that stuff. They're like, oh yeah, look at the business. Of course, it's all about the profits for the business guys. I'm like, You and I are seeing very different things in this movie, aren't we?
Business people need people to be alive to make money. Typically.
They're like the way that after the show they're talking about it, like, yeah, no, it's like, man, we really need to make sure our profits are where they need to be. Otherwise, it's like, but if there's no, world, what's the point? I'm
Yeah.
like, I
Phase
don't know
1,
what-
collect underpants. Phase 2, Phase 3, profit.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you
I
go.
feel like the preach equivalent of this now would be that that newer asteroid movie. What was it called? Something like Don't Look Up or Look Up.
Oh yeah. Watch out.
another-
Yeah, it was like a Netflix special with like
Yeah.
Oh
alien people in
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, an asteroid. I think that was what it was called.
Oh, Kodinami, the day after tomorrow, after today, equity strikes.
Equity
Oh,
strikes. Oh my god.
Did anyone see that movie? It was like Green Inferno. It's been some years since that.
Oh,
movie.
Yes,
I did.
yeah.
Yeah.
Where like some activists go into the rainforest and they run into some cannibals, and then the
Yeah.
end.
Oh no.
After this girl survives, after all this horrible cannibalism, like terrible shit
No,
happens.
don't do it.
And she,
Don't do
no,
it.
she gets saved by the deforesters. You know?
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, but then they have her, up in front of whatever, like a center or something like that, to talk to like, hey, there's this shit going on in this forest, and then she lies so she can stop the deforestation.
Oh.
Well, she lies to save them and to save the forest. Yeah.
Yep,
So these
yeah.
people have just eaten all her friends, literally. Like,
Yep.
and she's, no, don't shoot. It's all good. They're fine. They're great people. Save the trees.
Yeah.
It's like,
It's like-
and
They're
like
just
that
misunderstood.
movie. That's at mile in it. That one of the really graphic scenes.
They go out there in the sequel, and it's like all of the people are like, "We were told what to say. I can't breathe." Like I guess I don't know, guys. I guess we gotta go home now. Shit.
But any closing thoughts on the movie? I think we'll start with our guest, Tim. What's some thoughts on this, huh?
Tim.
Tim.
Well, I want to make sure we talk about cycles of apocalypse.
We
Not
will,
yet,
we
not yet.
will,
We'll get
but
to it.
that's,
No?
that's a whole
That's what
nother
we'll
get to it,
subject.
yeah.
Okay, I see. Recycling through. Unintended. Closing thoughts on the movie itself, storytelling. I mean, yeah, minus that ending, minus that kind of, overtone of misanthropy. I would say that's what I would call it, right? This, let's get rid of humans because we're making the world worse. That's kind of in there. But if you put that aside, I think we talked about it. It's a popcorn flick. I can sit down and I can still enjoy this movie. It's not so preachy like a lot of stuff you see nowadays that you can't enjoy it. I definitely still can.
Acting is still pretty good for the most part, and some of the perspective shots are still pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Mm.
Justin.
So I would say that it's certain. Obviously, it's not a perfect film by any stretch. But the CGI does hold up. So if you're into like CGI and just those sequences, that's worth watching. And I would say just for those couple moments, I still like that Hollywood sign getting destroyed was awesome, and that janitor just looking at me like, oh, the newscaster getting hit by the sign, the water hitting the Statue of Liberty and stuff is really cool. I love big waves, so that's fun to watch. Obviously some cringe portions, but you could certainly do worse if you're just picking a like mindless popcorn flick. So if you set your standards low, I think it'd be like, yeah, that was a movie. That was definitely a movie.
It was one of the movies.
yeah,
of
it
all
was
time.
one-
It was
the
one of the
movies
movies
of
of
the year.
2004. It's true.
Yeah. I'll say it's like
Well,
The
why would
more
you
I-
watch like 2004? Why would you watch this when you could watch iRobot or any other movie that came out in 2004?
we watched more than one movie at the theaters back then.
That's true.
It was like every
A
weekend,
year,
man. Yeah, it was just
Yeah.
nonstop, like fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah, remember Tuesday? Like, was it Optimum or something like that? Had like free movie Tuesdays.
We
And, like,
would go
yeah,
to the
yeah.
drive-in theaters about where I lived because we still had those at the time.
Oh, yeah.
I still have one too.
What a
I saw
crappy way to
Twister
watch a
in
movie,
drive-in.
but I did enjoy it.
No, dude, it's fun. You know?
Yeah, but the sound system was really faulty, and then like the
Yeah.
screen,
It's your-
the projector started having problems.
Oh, it's ours was through the radio. So if you had an okay radio, it sounded all right. But I mean,
Yeah.
were you really going there to watch a movie, though? You know?
I was a child, so
Yeah.
Hopefully.
So, some of us are not old enough to have, put on our spiffy pants and gone out to
Oh,
neck with
man.
some gal from the town.
Oh, you missed. It was a good time, man.
It sounds like it, yeah.
So for myself on this movie,
Oh, we don't
yeah, there are some fun scenes. There are some enjoyable scenes. Are there worse movies? Yes, But like the more I sit and think about it, it's just the worse it gets, and it's just like that's
The
a
more
bad
you think,
sign.
the worse it gets.
Yeah, but like seriously, and I really think like it was a big mistake of doing the stories side by side, and it's just one of those things where, like when you're in the moment, when you're watching it, it's like you're having fun, you're entertained, but it's just like it just feels hollow after, and it's kind of what I get from it.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean,
Yep.
I don't think I'll ever watch this movie again. And I think that's maybe the most... Like, I don't hate this film. I think the acting is good. I think the dialogue can be really good. Some of the shots, basic premise for a disaster movie is interesting in some ways, but I don't know. I'd almost like something more absurd, like kind of more like Armageddon if you're going to go with a disaster film. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. So, but the final question.
Does it sink? Or
Does it float?
Well, first off, this movie just gives me all these vibes.
No offense, but it sounds like some fucking commie gobbledygook.
Yes. Anytime we can get a Norm
Oh, I
clip in
miss
there, I'm a
Norm.
fan.
I miss
Oh,
Norm.
dude, me too. Oh, man, me too. I was just listening to him earlier on Dennis Miller.
I was a
But I am-
10-year-old when this movie came out.
I am on the side that this sinks.
That's fair. That's fair.
Just like those buoys out in the water. I think there's just too many plot holes and cheap.
You know, buoys float, right?
Well, they sank. Yeah, but no, I said in this movie they sank. In this movie, remember?
Why would you just say something that sinks then? It's like those rocks in the lake. Yeah, they sink.
Whatever. All right, whatever. Oh my god, sorry, I picked the wrong.
You know those things that float? Yeah.
Anyways,
just
my
like-
whole point. My whole
It's like
point.
an inflatable volleyball.
It's just a hollow movie, and a lot of cheap tactics being used in this to draw emotion. I think it's just like it's on the edge, and it's tipping over to sinking.
Modern day, it would be I'd probably rate it a bit higher because it doesn't. But against back then, especially, no chance. Yeah, it's a sinker for me.
Oh, all right. I'm going to give it one of these.
Justin, no.
Don't know what that means.
So, all right, it looks like it's going
Is he
down, but
arou-
at the very
he-
end,
he's aroused.
if this is the if this is the water line, it's just barely just a finger out of the water.
Just
just
the tip.
Just to see Hollywood get destroyed, the reporter get hit by the sign. There's enough little treats in this movie.
Oh my god!
There's
he always
enough little
pushes
treats.
movies over to float for some stupid fucking reason. Every
Tim,
single
save
time.
I didn't
this.
hate it.
Save this
God.
I
vote,
didn't-
please.
I didn't watch it at 1.5. Well, I was watching it with Grace, so I couldn't. But there was only a couple moments where I'm like, this should be 1.5.
I really
Whenever
wanted to 1.5
whenever-
this.
Yeah, whenever the wife is talking or the government guys, I'm like, I don't care. Get back to the city. But yeah, it was enough there. Keep me entertained. It was again. You could do far worse. You could do far worse.
Yeah.
I gotta I don't think I'm gonna be helpful here because I'm gonna have to agree. It's not a top tier movie, but I'm giving it
Okay.
it survives.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow. I try to be a nice guy and invite him onto the
Chat.
show, and then he screws me over like this.
Chat.
So
Yeah, I'm
make up
putting
for
a
all those
poll.
Lenti comments.
Everybody watching, everybody listening, say float or sink now.
Wait,
Put it
I'm
in.
putting in a poll.
Oh, he's putting a
All right.
poll. Okay.
Oh,
Never
wild.
mind. Wait.
Actually, always put
let Battsauce put together his poll. Let him get his poll up.
Oh,
Wait.
can we vote in this poll too?
Good.
Should I get on my
Absolutely
alts and-
not.
Oh. Wait, I
Oh,
can.
skunks! You can't do me like that, man. You can't, dude. But Bats, are we going to agree and then be voted wrong here? Oh,
I think I saw someone. I think it was
No.
Bill. Actually, I think Bill
What is
said,
wrong with people?
for nostalgia. So part of this for me is the nostalgia. I watched it back at a time when we weren't living
Yeah.
with all the insane preachiness. So there are parts of it that just stick with me.
yeah, and I like Dennis Quaid and Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to deny there's definitely some good aspects of it, but it's like overall.
Oh, it's switching! It's switching!
Oh!
We're gonna get some 3 a.m. boys. Check it at 3 a.m. You see what happens.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna.
Let's
I'm
see.
gonna
Let's
end
see.
It's gonna go like this.
it.
Unless people come in,
we
it's
have
gonna.
10 people watching right now.
Oh no!
I should have ended it. No!
Yes,
Why?
well done, chat. Well done.
All right, one more vote and I'm ending it. Who is the tiebreaker?
Oh,
This is
no.
what
Tim,
this
do not
movie
go
is.
in there and
It's
vote.
like- it's
fair.
right there.
Hands are up.
It's not a total. It's not a total
Oh
buoy.
no.
It's a partial buoy. You know, it kind of. So actually, Battsauce, you're right on the money with the buoy analogy.
Oh yeah,
thank
you know, it sinks just like a buoy. That's a great.
No,
That's the
no,
quote
no.
for today's chat. Six
is a
like
Whoever,
buoy.
Do I
if,
need
if,
to-
so-
boys,
if
we got
someone
it.
votes next, it's over, dude.
Caroline! Caroline!
He's gonna bring in his wife.
She's too far, bro. Dude, she would like, oh man. All right, it's not like
Neutrally
we have anyone
buoyant
else
is
coming
what
on
coding
here
onyx
to
says.
Naturally, boy.
balance this. All right,
Well,
guys.
we can
Do
leave
we have
it
a
for
tie
now.
button?
We don't.
No,
We've
but
never had that problem before.
I don't want to go on to another topic. I want to like end it, and I'll just say this. All right, we got a tie.
That's kind of gay. Oh, that's so gay, though, dude.
Yeah. All right.
Also,
Tying
don't
is
do
like
it.
kissing your sister, which Nietzsche wanted to do. Is that right?
No, he didn't. Revisionist. I hate all this revisionist history, man.
I don't know anything about it. I just what I know I learned from this movie.
No, they're taking his letters and how they talked back then. You know, because they would use a different language, right? Essentially, and they're basically be saying like, "Oh, that he must love his sister." because
Justin,
of
you
what he's written.
misunderstand. He wanted to kiss your sister.
Oh,
Oh, my.
so he's not. I'm thinking of Einstein. He married two of his cousins. I wasn't sure if it was just a thing back then.
It is completely baseless. There's nothing to back it up.
I know. That's why I took a jab at it.
Why
I'm
would
so
you,
mad. Chat-
Herman? Why would you say this?
Chat, this is me
no.
with you guys right now.
If you keep doing that, something you do not want is going to happen to you with 100% certainty.
Another Canadian treasure.
I'm starting to become Royce here, man. The chat is what is going on?
50,
Either way,
50. What a load, dude.
that is the day after tomorrow.
Sure is.
What a stupid name for a move. Sorry. Okay.
Okay, can I about the time?
Sorry, there's a
All
delay.
good. That's, yeah.
Where is it?
Okay, my theory on the title is this: they had a far preachier, stupid title originally,
I think you
and
might.
at the very and it probably had something to do with something someone said in the movie, as it is now. And then at the last minute, they were like, you know what? And for whatever reason, they decided to change it, and they threw. This is what always happens: last minute title changes, you end up with some crap like this.
Our working title was Republicans and Big Business Suck and are ruining it.
It was probably something that Dennis Quaid said to the vice president.
Why are you talking about kissing and noses and mustaches, Herman?
I think he was talking about Nietzsche.
I don't. Are you talking about? Are you talking? I think he's talking about Einstein, and I'm not comfortable.
No, I think he's talking about Nietzsche.
Yeah, he's talking about Nietzsche's stash.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
This is terrible.
All right,
But-
Tim. I believe you have
A
something you
book.
want to show. Something.
Sure. I mean, yeah, like I said, Thursday.
Some regular old low T writing.
Jackass.
That's how we'll introduce it.
Yeah, that's perfect. Low T right here. Lots of dragons and fire and adventure, and it's dark flintlock fantasy. So kind of Napoleonic era technology. A few other things mixed in. A little sci-fi. Hits you in the face about halfway through, but there are hints building up, so you should see it coming. And yeah, it's how do I call it? It's clean. I describe it as clean. It's not really spicy.
It's not
or
grim
really-
dark or like too overly too violent or descriptively violent.
It's dark. The violent I would describe as intense but not grotesque.
Okay, that's fair.
That's kind of what I was going for. So you got a good amount of violence, and even you'll know within 2 chapters if you can handle the level of violence in the book, because I throw some fun stuff at people in the opening chapter, and you'll know it when you see it. Anyways, and from there it's really just following this broader cast of characters. You've got the main character though, the one you see in most of my illustration. So Baldair's Draskar.
Put the link in the private chat so I can.
Yeah, let me grab the Universal.
Sorry, I
link
meant to
here.
ask that before the show.
Yeah, we'll do.
We are professionals here.
Yes, sir. Yes.
I'll
Also,
give the-
AC, the poor lad couldn't make it, but yeah, he tossed together this like little collage of your stuff here. So
Yeah.
cool.
So these are the internal illustrations from the book by Joe Requesa. And AC was
did
awesome enough
such a
to
good
combine these into a
job.
single, and it's awesome. I love it.
Yeah,
it
dude,
came.
it's
Why does it
tough,
work
dude.
so well? It came together so bloody well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
it's
it
really,
was.
and I love interior illustrations also. Like I'm huge on it.
I mean, a Cthulhu-like type or Leviathan, I can't say words, creature, and this dude summoning fire or something. I don't know. That's too dope.
Well said.
Yeah, you can make this into a poster.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. Well, that's
Honestly.
one of the other main characters is this 9-year-old girl, and she's basically scatterbrained. You know, it's this world just consumed by evil, and here she is, this happy-go-lucky child, just running amok through this world, and there's a lot going on, and it's just everyone seems to love her more than almost any character, if not the most, because she's just hilarious. It's really fun writing from that. I don't know. See what you think. It's a fun time, and then you get a scene like that where she just goes power crazy, Dragon Ball Z 9000 kind of thing. It's wonderful.
Also, how would you sell us this book? Like, say we don't know you. Say we're just like we're fantasy readers or indie readers. Like, how would you sell us this book?
You're saying if you are fantasy readers?
Yeah. But like not people who know you. Like, how would you sell us this book?
Yeah, I would say if you're looking for again clean but dark and action-packed fantasy, that's what you're gonna get here. It's fast-paced, multiple points of view. A lot of people seem to love the world building and the characters, and so you're just kind of following this epic scale battle, really between chaos and control on one end and freedom on the other. It's characters who are just thrown into the mix of this world they don't yet understand, and they're trying to find their place in it. They're trying to claw their way to a feeling of agency and freedom, and finding family and friends along the way.
There's
all good
two
things.
books you can compare it to with those two books. I know it's cheesy and all, but it honestly is like one of the best ways to, I feel like, express.
Yeah, good comp. It's tough. I for some of the, let me put it this way, for the scale of the world that I'm going for, and definitely for the way you'll feel during the uses of magic and fighting, I would say Wheel of Time.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, but then a lot of it is kind of more thriller in pace and feel. So even though it's on the scale of epic fantasy, you'll get kind of
It's a little punchier, a little quicker.
Yeah. So you'll get kind of Michael Crichton, sci-fi feels. Not the sci-fi, but more the thriller feel. If you've read James Rowland's, one of his books, The Judas Strain, captures.
Oh, I haven't read it yet. It's on my list.
I love that book, and that's actually one I would compare it to. Some of the underlying sci-fi elements of the world, I would say, are very comparable, just in feel, not so much in idea, but in feel to what's happening. Because anyways, it drives the action along and pulls you along with it, and the world slowly starts to make sense as you follow these characters through it. And so Wheel of Time meets a little bit of thriller.
Nice. I'm all down for that because, like Wheel of Time has problems, but I overall I'm pretty big on that series so far. I'm about like book 7 or 8 in it right now.
Yeah.
I'll
A
also
series
say
that takes
this
3
is-
books to get into.
I wouldn't describe it as like, I don't know. I kind of describe Wheel of Time as more young adult. I would say this is aimed a little higher.
Okay.
Most of the
Okay.
characters are older. The main character is like mid 30s, so that should give you some idea. It's meant to have a more adult feel.
He's
Wow.
basically dead. He's at the end of his rope. I get it.
It's all downhill from here, folks.
And over 500 pages too, so this must be quite an adventure.
Yeah, so I mean, it's split into 3 parts, so that helps make it digestible, and even the chapter sizes are, for the most part, there's 1 or 2 chapters that go over like 3,000 words. Most of them, 2,000. So that's like 5 to 10 pages max. on
Oh,
average.
sick.
It's what we call a big boy. Anyway.
So you get it's almost like getting 3 books in one then if it's broken
Yeah.
into 3 parts, right? That's kind of cool.
Isn't it?
Yeah, so it
legit
makes
three
it.
books in
I
one?
tried to make
I was
it.
intimidated, but that sounds alluring now.
It makes it.
Yeah, I tried to
easier,
make it
for sure.
digestible. That was the goal from the start.
Well, like, didn't
Yeah.
you say isn't it like actually 3 books in one?
Technically, well, so funny enough, when I wrote, schemed out and outlined the story, it was 6 parts, but in 2 major arcs, like 2 major story arcs. 3-part arcs, and I was originally going to do it as 2, and then I split it into 6. Individual shorter books. I kind of let me put it this way: the
You've
books that
gone
got
on a
me-
journey to get here. Obviously, it's had to undergo quite a few changes.
Yeah, well, like the books that got me hooked on fantasy when I was like 11, 12, they were Emily Rada's Deltora Quest. If you've ever-
Yep. I read
Yeah.
those. Yep, those are great.
I loved those, and that to me was kind of my idea when I split it into those 6 parts. I thought I want something someone
like
could,
there's 6 smaller books. Yeah.
yeah, and someone could just blast through in a night, one at a time, But what I realized is the story I was telling, you need some like you ended up ending on some pretty intense cliffhangers for parts 1 and 2. And
You can. I think you can do that once or twice once in a series, but if you do it twice in a trilogy, that feels like a lot.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I
like-
think this story needed to be told together, and so far the feedback is, for those who've read them individually and now together, the feedback seems to be, yeah, this was the right call.
Well, it's like we like to say on the show a lot. A story is as long as it needs to be or should be, right?
It's not.
'Cause
It's not like a TV show where it has to be 45 minutes exactly,
Right.
and then 5.
Yeah. Yeah, you're unlimited on time. Use that. But yeah, no, it's because I've read books and stuff like that, and it's like you can tell if they're trying to go for a word count or something like that, and it's just an unpleasant ending or something. So it's like, yeah, you're probably making the right move by making it the length or whatever you feel like it needs to be. I think that's important.
I can read your little bit about it on the Amazon page if you like, real quick. Just give people.
Sure.
little
Yeah,
taste.
absolutely. Yeah, it'll give you a good sense.
Yeah, it's just like everybody's trying to do novellas, and that'll happen too.
Well,
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with novellas. They're very digestible, but there are a lot of stories that can't be. It's very hard to tell a good story in a short amount of time, which is sometimes some stories need the bigger word count or page count.
And a story like this, it needed it for sure, because any aspirations for an audiobook, I can answer that separately. But I mean, a story like this, a huge element of it is the mystery, is not necessarily knowing one, where at least 1 or 2 characters are coming from, and that gets slowly built up and revealed, and 2, just even knowing some of the elements of the world get revealed over time. And like, that's not a story you can tell in 20,000 words,
Yeah. And plus, like, honestly, like, there are books where I get attached to characters very quickly, but for most stories, I need enough time to really, like, if you give me enough time with a good, well-written character, I'll probably like them by the end. But yeah, I'll start on this.
Sure. Yeah.
Valdaris was a middling artillery captain before his people fell to a conquering rival. Then he fell further still, snatched from the battlefield by a ruthless cult, and cast into the depths of ultimate evil. Transformed by powers he can't begin to understand. Valdaris seeks revenge on those who tried to destroy him. Instead, he'll face monsters beyond his most terrifying nightmares. He joins with allies caught in the chaos of his war with evil, oblivious to his true nature and the darkness closing in on their world. Full of dragons, monsters, found families, magical weapons, intense duels, and epic battles. The fall of Selvandria follows a vigilante's quest against malice, greed,
Vigilantes.
and the shadow within. Heroes and villains join against the rising dark, and against a tyrant whose schemes may destroy them all.
Boom. Okay, there you go.
All right.
There you go.
Now, answer the audio question because I'm curious about that.
Yeah. Something I can't say. There is a hope, an indefinite right now, unconfirmed hope of it happening sooner than later. I'm definitely going to get one done eventually. I just right now it depends, but there's a.
Reading is
have
hard for
hopes.
some of us, Tim. Reading's hard.
Say again?
All right. I said reading is hard for some of us. So
Reading itself is not hard, but I have a job and 2 young children.
Yeah,
So time to
finding-
physically read is a lot less substantial than my time to listen, which is
Yep.
why
Fair.
I love audiobooks as much as I do.
Yeah,
So,
no, totally fair, and that is very much the goal. It's just it's a matter of whether or not it'll be. Well, when it starts, I'm hope that's the goal after what's in the works right now, which I mean I've told enough people that I can say. So there is an illustrated cover coming.
Oh, cool.
oh, okay.
Yeah. So I mean,
More
I love this
illustrations.
current cover for what it is.
Yeah.
More like it kind of is a cross between that special edition feel. that you
It's
see on
like
some
a
of the
it's like a
posters.
basic European cover right now. It's
Yeah.
it's serviceable, but that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of like I like that style. I like an iconic style, but I also love some of these illustrated covers. And here's the thing: is the guy whose art you're seeing right now? He's the one doing the cover, the illustrated. So
His level of detail and shading is pretty. It's on point. It's
Pretty
very,
insane,
very well done.
honestly.
Yeah.
yeah.
It looks really good.
So I'm very excited. That ETA on that is I mean he starts. I can say he starts working on it at the end of this month. So the end of
Sick.
October, and when it's ready, I'll get the typography and everything done, and then release shortly after that. Cover reveal pending.
There's so much like I'm sure every author who enjoys is passionate about their book. Like we want the interior art, we want the illustrated cover, we want the audiobook right away by not just a competent reader but a good one. And because it's like there are 3 different levels. There's a bad reader that makes you not like a story because of how bad the reading is. Then there's one that is just serviceable. They just give you the story in audio form, which is what you asked for. But then, if you have a really good audio narrator, they can elevate the story with their narration. And that's, I think, ideally what everybody wants as well.
Yeah.
If you feel free to tell me no, but
No.
if there is a scene in the book that you can maybe describe to help advertise, would there be a scene?
Titleize us.
Oh, that's tough. I mean, the instant one that comes to mind is the one I almost just want to let you read. So yeah, you know what? I'm going to avoid spoiling that. I'm going to say, it's probably. I think it's close enough to the beginning that if you go on Amazon, to the page previews, you can read it in there if you want to preview.
Read sample.
Yeah. So if I'm thinking of something later in the book, even these scenes depicted here. I mean, yeah, some of the epic magic scenes. There's one that happens on the water where one character starts to discover what she's capable of, and it's while this scene with the ships is happening, and yeah, her scenes are really intense and fun to write because there's one this sequence. She's kind of just barely recovering from things she's gone through. And at the same time, without her consent, let's put it that way, she's been granted these powers. And so now she's in the middle of, she's on the smaller brig getting attacked by this huge Selvan frigate. Selvar is one of the nations in the book. And they're just barely escaping, and her powers are coming to her. And she's summoning the power of the sea, and her awareness is stretching out and kind of linking her to the objects and people around her. That's kind of a lot of the magic in this. It has to do with this evil organism that links everyone to a point. Doesn't control them completely, which is why you have people fighting for freedom. But
It causes influence.
Exactly. But if you get just enough free from it, and then, I won't give too many more spoilers than that. But you can. This evil organism is also what creates all the monsters. It's what. Essentially it's this force of chaos and malevolence. Its sole purpose is to cause as much ruin and devastation and pain and suffering in the world as it can, while also maintaining enough control that it doesn't lose the people it's trying to make suffer, right? Someone like her who is starting to break free, she's starting to, take hold of that power that's meant for evil and use it for another cause. And so in this scene when she breaks,
that's very Elric of her. Very Elric of her.
Yeah. That's actually, anyways, it came to mind for sure. So, a scene like that where she's at sea and just goes, you think it's the end, and chaos, and you think this ship is about to fail, and then she gets to. Anyways, I try to make the fight scenes and the magic scenes like palpable, where you, as you're reading it, feel like you're experiencing it yourself. I've read a lot of books that try to depict this kind of thing, and they describe it. It's the details. But that's where I like. There's a lot about the Wheel of Time I don't like. The one thing that Robert Jordan got very right was you feel the magic. You.
Oh
feel
yeah, the magic is always. It's never inconsequential. Never.
Yeah, like the one power, you feel like you're wielding it as you're reading those books, and that's something I really admired. So
yeah, for sure.
There we go. That was a long-winded description of that scene for you.
No, it works out, man. Plus, honestly, we need more books with ships. There's not enough books that have good, really ideal ship scenes. And it's like
Huge
it's always a shame.
influence there. Have you guys read the Patrick O'Brien books, the Aubrey material? Oh, of course, we talked about this. The freaking Master and Commander.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah. So those books I love. Those are incredible. Very rich, very dense, hard to read books. But,
yeah, like there's a book my parents read me when I was very young called what was it? Sea of Darkness or something like that. Hunters of the Dark Sea. That's what it was called.
Okay.
And it wasn't fantasy, but it wasn't quite reality either. Basically, there's a creature that has fantastical elements, and it's basically just the creature was an expanded idea, like the idea of the Portuguese man o' war. Jellyfish, which is technically 3 different organisms living in symbiosis together to create that monster of an animal. Basically, they made a Big Me version of that, and so it's a creature that is makes Cthulhu whales basically, and is a parasite that lives in the whale, and it's a great story of it. Yeah,
right.
no,
that's awesome.
I think we
honestly, Roy says, "Hey, look, beer." That might be better.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess our next topic we can talk about cycles of apocalypse. That'd be a good thing to talk about.
Do you want me to open up? I got some thoughts.
Yeah.
No, stay closed. Be private.
Yeah. Please don't contribute.
I wasn't sure. Okay, so I'm thinking cycles of the apocalypse. Like if the world's ending, and where you got to go. It's like Fallout. It's kind of how I'm envisioning it. You got to get to the town or what have you. Maybe you got to go over some rough terrain. I'm sure if it's like the apocalypse, there's probably trees down. It's just gonna be rough. So I'm thinking either like a sick dyno, maybe like a 10-speed mountain bike, like a Santa Cruz or a Trek bike of some sort. A part of me is thinking a tandem bike might be cool because then me and Grace could ride together. And maybe get like a basket on the front,
on something like that.
Maybe like bells
homosexual
and the tassels,
bicycles of the apocalypse.
Basket up front, card in the spokes. For me, those are some of the best cycle options if it's the apocalypse.
Definitely.
See, I'm thinking end of the world. I want to shoot my shit. I want one of those. I think penny farthings. They're called.
Oh yeah, with the big tire in the front.
Big wheel in the front.
I want a folding clown bike cycle of.
I think that's a smart move because if I see you coming, I'm like, that guy's crazy. It's not whatever interaction could take place. I'm just backing off. Even if I got a gang of guys, just let the penny farthing guy go about his business because that dude's. You got to be bold to ride one of those.
He may be God. We don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
You
gotta have great balance too.
People are gonna stereotype motorcycles, right? Like if you want to really talk about cycles, motorcycles. But maybe you probably can't get your hand
imagine
there's probably no more gas instead of
I was gonna say gasoline's a problem.
You can put a card in the tires. That will kind of replicate the sound and something like that aura of the motorcycle.
Yeah, and they might be like, where'd that guy get gasoline? That might pique their interest, though. If they think you have gas, they might be like, let's follow this guy or something. But gasoline, I imagine, would be hard unless you have a way to create your own. I know that you can run some vehicles off of certain alcohols
Hopes
of some
and dreams.
sort. Yeah. So I don't know. I think obviously a motorized vehicle would be an excellent choice because you're not burning calories needlessly riding your bike over
let's
the
be real.
terrain.
Let's be real. In whatever apocalypse, having a motorized thing is probably not likely unless it's like an EMP type of apocalypse.
Exactly. And you guys laugh at me for the tandem bike, but think about it. You have two people pedaling to the same location.
I'm not going to think about you and your wife on a tandem bicycle in an
You
apocalypse,
are,
Justin.
You are having the calories you have to output to get to the same place.
It's efficient. It's economic, honestly.
I mean, if they had a one with 3 seats, that's like
and then one of you dies and you're just a jackass with a big bicycle.
Why would one of us die? It's like Olympic rowing, you know?
Like, what are you going to do alternatively? You're going to have a sidecar with no motor?
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah, what's your plan?
Just ride a dirt bike for like 3 days until you
don't
run
have
out of
gasoline.
Gas. You have gas for 3 days, just not after that.
How much of a fit do you think AC is going to have when he finally watches this replay? It's like, what the hell are you guys
all I'll say is the worst choice would be unicycle. Actually, your hands free, so you can be like armed. You know,
it's also
a
weapon. You can easily maneuver and handle that with one hand. So you also have a weapon.
Pogo stick of the apocalypse.
And let's say it's a snowy area, icy. You put treads on the unicycle.
Naturally.
Of course.
Now you have a serious one.
Oh man, I was trying to hold together the treads on the unicycle, did man. But tactically, the unicycle actually is starting to make sense. I thought it was funny, but now I'm like
dodge and attack.
Yeah, well, if you're on a bike, your hands are occupied unless you're going fast on a 10 speed, and then you can take your hands off. You know, no handlebars.
Jesus.
And then you can do your thing. But you gotta have some speed there so you don't fall over. But a unicycle, it's pure balance. You know.
Joe just left. He's like, I'm done.
Oh, I thought he was gonna make a shadow joke or something. I can't think of any other.
Herman says, "Can you imagine the?" Wait, it's Herman, so I have to do the voice properly. Can you imagine Herman, the Road Warrior Mohawk dude, on a tandem bicycle with his blonde ladyboy? I certainly can.
Let's talk about more cycles, though. Like, what are our options? Cycles, and we could kind of like maybe tier list it with cycles. I think that'd be our best.
That's a good idea.
Option.
That's a smart idea.
This is definitely what AC wanted to talk about.
He talked about cycles.
What do you
He's
mean?
not here to clarify, so I don't know what you mean. Yeah.
What else do you mean?
I'm going unicycle. The unicycle with the on the tire, the tread for the snow. I'm going S tier for that one, boys. I think that's a great choice.
Justin, just for that opinion, I think you shouldn't be allowed to have a seat on your unicycle. Anyway.
Oh, come on.
What are you gonna fight back with? If you're a normal person with decent balance, a unicycle's not that hard.
That's true. Here's another thing. With the tandem bike.
No shot you have ridden a unicycle successfully, Bats. No shot.
I know my neighbor used to. So.
Oh yeah, that sounds a lot like your
seen a guy on one. Now, in fairness, look. Okay, give me a hard time for the tandem bike. I've already explained. The calories and using less. But also, most tandem bikes, what kind of seat do they have? Is it a standard seat that gets all up in the taint and cuts off your blood circulation?
Like I said, I think yours doesn't have a seat.
It has banana seats, which are very comfortable.
Long
distance riding.
That's a big problem with just like most bikes in general. Like the seats are really rough and it'll chafe up your butt, which is like your options for. For maintaining a jacked butt is not very.
I'm going tandem bike S tier, man.
Apocalypse.
What if you encounter a Desitin supplied an abandoned Costco, and then you're fine? No,
I still like the idea of the sidecar and just like pedaling, and somebody's in the sidecar.
Tim will never.
And they're not helping at all. It's just weight, just bogging you down.
Okay, but
Unicycle,
actual topic. Cycles of Apocalypse and Stories, Wheel of Time we brought up earlier. That's the perfect, representation of that. It's because like they say it at least 2 or 3 times a book. It's like times that have come before, and when they become myth, those times that will have come again. And basically, it's just one big cycle that repeats itself. The Wheel of Time. It never stops. It just keeps going in a circle.
But can they ride that cycle?
Jesus Christ! Right.
What's funny is I tried to Google cycles of the apocalypse because I'm unfamiliar, and one of the first things that came up says I'm a little hedgehog. I'm an immovable walrus. I'm a wolf howling at the sky. I'm a crow nursing its grudges against God. I'm scared.
What the fuck were you looking?
It's ChatGPT. I said, what are the cycles? Because I'm unfamiliar. I thought we were talking about like dinos and stuff.
Shadow the Hedgehog is his own cycle.
Too many ones.
Two
So
men,
what are
one...
the-
Herman, that's about right. 2 men, 1 bike.
If you ride it by yourself, it's called the loser cruiser, the tandem bike.
So Grace would take one look at that bicycle, say that's kind of gay, and then Joe
that's-
and it would be Joe and Justin
I
on
actually,
that bicycle.
I proposed to her on a tandem bike.
Oh,
thank
no.
you. No, I'm just
What if you're on the you have the tandem bike option, and your partner goes to take a leak, and the cannibals see you on the tandem bike by yourself, just waiting there? They're gonna assume you're a virgin. That makes you a target.
Also, you said partner, not wife. I assume you're gay. I assume Battsauce is gay in the apocalypse. You know, just like we were.
Well, I'm not just talking about me. This is not just a me case, you know.
And Bats is like, don't worry, there are other gay men in the apocalypse.
We all know that cannibals prefer virgins in the apocalypse, and so you want to do anything that's gonna make sure you don't look like a virgin. That's again why I suggest the card in the wheel to kind of make it sound like a motorcycle.
Yeah,
that's not virgin moves. That's not virgin gear. You know.
That's why I put a
point.
sexy
That's a good
lady
point.
mud flap on my tandem bicycle, just so they know.
go on.
Stand back, ladies. This man's mine. Oh, thank you, Herman. Thank you. What?
Any more cycles?
I mean, I just got my comfortable, god-like penny farthing. That's where I draw the line for the apocalypse.
That'd be sick.
Also, since he's not here, Book of the Mortal Descent, AC's book. It is about cycles of apocalypse. That things are lost and forgotten. There you go. And technology evolves and then is destroyed and rediscovered and all sorts of stuff. It's a fun because each of the 3 short stories in his book, his anthology, take place at drastically different times. Are you okay? Drastically different times. Also,
So, I
Herman
mean,
says, yeah.
There's also BMX bikes, right? And
That's what the dyno is, dude. You can get some pegs on the back. Get your buddy on there.
I bet
that's
you
the thing.
do.
They're not great for traveling, but you can have a
sweet.
partner and you can have somebody, gunning
Yeah,
while
you can
you're
also look like a 40-year-old
transporting.
guy with too many DUIs trying to get to work.
If you're
Perfect.
if you have some real balls and you have a BMX bike, you can have 2 people, one behind, one in the back, and that's just ultimate defense, ultimate offense. Like there's no dealing with that. I don't like. And you can also
the
assume there's going to
ultimate
be like
defense of a bicycle.
you can also assume there's going to be metal all over the place in the apocalypse, like rusted metal. You're going to get some sweet grinds in, all right? Just the best grinds.
I thought
And that's
you
going to
were-
be the real cycle you want, like in a really metal-full
Now,
apocalypse. Yeah.
I thought you were going in the direction of making Bike Dozer, where you have this metal, you get some welding gear, and then you have Bike Dozer.
And then you have to
Bike
push around 4,000-pound bicycle.
That's a little
I
bit
mean,
more
don't skip leg day,
cumbersome.
boys. If it's don't skip leg day.
If you start on a hill, it'll make that cycle of the apocalypse a little bit better.
That'll be an
But
easier cycle.
depending on the hill size, that might be a that would depend on dictate the length of the
We
cycle.
can put like a water bottle between the tire and the fender to make it sound like a motorcycle of the apocalypse.
Yeah,
as well.
I said that. Yeah,
The-
but like
I need
with
8
and then once you're at the bottom of the hill, though, like the cycle's kind of over at that point because you're
Boys?
just yeah.
We have never needed AI so badly, an AI video in particular, for this theme.
Yeah.
I can
gotta
talk
be a
to
way to make
James
this happen.
Esparza. He put together AI videos.
We need music. AC, whenever you see this, we need a song about the cycles
We need
of the apocalypse.
we need bisexual bicycles of the apocalypse.
And each of us, we need our own cycles. It's like this whole thing.
Well, this is the great thing about the apocalypse is that there's so much rough terrain. The bike's gonna vibrate on its own. To be honest, like you're not gonna need.
He rides
I
it right
gotta
before he
test
goes
this
to
scene.
bed. Yeah.
Yeah.
In the apocalypse, this is the only way.
Also, AC, remember when you're prompting this song that Battsauce wanted pegging happening on his bike? He wanted pegs on his bicycle. Just
Yeah,
saying.
on the back
All
tire.
right.
That's what they're called.
Yeah, yeah, there,
That's
there.
tactical, actually.
That's
Yeah.
what he meant.
Tactical
obviously.
pegs.
Obviously.
Yeah.
And banana
But-
seats.
And Tim never
Amazing.
came back.
You know, somebody
Scarred for life.
mentioned the mountain bike though already, right? Like that's essentially
Oh,
the
yeah,
Swiss
10
Army
speed.
knife of cycles.
It's so true.
Yeah,
It's good for everything.
It's good for everything.
Except for going
Yeah.
on the road.
It's not great at anything though. That's a problem.
You can put it in low gear though, and I mean you can pedal for a
It's
long
pretty
time.
good
you
at
know?
going on the mountain, Bats. I'm not sure what you're talking about, but
Yeah, but you know,
Yeah.
how many mountains are in the apocalypse?
That's true. Most of them got leveled.
are they gone in the apocalypse?
Yeah, the apocalypse actually it brings the mountains down. It's
Well, it
science.
depends on the apocalypse, right? If we're talking nuclear, are we talking asteroid? Are we
a fair
talking
point.
day after tomorrow?
Yeah, we'll make a
very true.
movie about it. We'll call it The Day After Tuesday next week. Yeah, it'll be great.
There we go. Perfect.
You know, day after tomorrow would have been a lot better with a cycle on it.
That's such a good point. That's such a good point.
Yeah.
The president
we
would have
never-
made it out if he chose a bicycle, a
Air Force
unicycle
One
with a
is
snow
now
tread. He would
Air
have made
Force
it.
One is just like a BMX motorcycle.
Like I said, he could have carried the unicycle with treads on it to New York City, and he could have unicycled his way out of the city.
That's so true.
He
Such
wouldn't
a
have
good
been
point.
caught like the cop and the other
Those-
people. 'cause
those
he'd
wolves wouldn't
he'd
have
be
stood a
double timing
chance.
that.
I feel like I had
Depending on
a brain moment there. Okay, is it Armageddon that has at the very beginning? I think it's a homeless guy, but he has a bike and he's biking as the asteroids are falling.
Yeah,
just-
yeah.
Right?
Maybe.
That came
Yeah,
to mind. And-
yeah,
So
it
that's
did.
why Armageddon is better. There we go.
Bicycles of Apocalypse.
That is a
Yep.
sick.
Well, do we have any more cycles to talk about, or should we move on to the next?
God, I hope not.
I'm content. I mean, like jokes aside, the theme of the cycles, the world ends, everyone recovers, but we forget the lessons of the past, so then it happens again. The whole history repeats adage. I feel like there are a lot of books before a certain period, a lot of movies, and a lot of stories before a certain period that wasn't as big a theme.
It's
feels like
become
this
bigger. Yeah.
yeah, it feels like it's gotten bigger and now it's kind of here to stay. Where we have it's not fatalistic. There's a word for it though, right? Like
I don't know what that word is, but I do understand it. Like even like something like Stormlight is a little bit like that. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
the desolate story starts off 4,836 years before the story starts, kind of thing. Yeah.
yeah, and somehow you end up back at the destiny, or back where it all began, more or less.
Yeah, and the desolations basically is like a reset button for humanity every single time
Yeah.
it happens. So
Yeah.
yes, that real cycle of apocalypse there. Definitely
Yeah.
some Wheel of Time influence with that decision, but
Yeah.
I wholeheartedly approve. But yeah.
That's the last thought I have on it, though. I'm content with talking about BMXs
All right.
or moving on.
Battsauce transition.
You know what really makes transitioning a lot better and easier? A great cycle.
Believable characters.
Now,
Believable characters.
Whoa, sorry. Whoa. Hi.
Like, how do we make them believable?
I think it depends on the setting a little bit, because like a character
Well, absolutely.
in one type of story will, like a character in a serious thriller probably wouldn't fit very well into the movie Scream, because it's making fun of those kind of movies. I don't think that kind of character would be believable in that setting. So I think it does kind of depend on the setting. Like Tim, for you released your book recently. How like obviously your characters may not be real to real life, but are they believable in their own setting?
I mean, I hope so. But I was actually unrelated. Not even necessarily thinking about this chat. It was just something else brought this up last night. I was thinking about the difference, the tension, let's say, between relatable characters and believable but unique characters. Like what actually draws us in is often a unique enough character that it forces us to try and empathize beyond our current life, right? Because we're drawn in by imagination. So if a character is so relatable that there's nothing about them that stands out, they're going to bore the hell out of us, right? So a believable, relatable character can actually be a real disaster for a story. Like that would probably be a pretty boring story. It's depending on your life, you know.
Well, like a character doesn't have to be super relatable to be an appreciated character. It comes down kind of to individual taste, and sometimes for me it comes down to how they're used in the stories. Like in A Song of Ice and Fire, in the first 3 books, Catelyn Stark is one of my favorite POV chapter kind of focus characters. I love her character. It's very fascinating to read, at least when I was reading it.
Yeah, well, that's my point. Is like, you know, I think we have a charge almost if you're writing stories, if you're, you know, you're delving into something that draws people in, and the characters that draw us in, you know, it has to be, I think it was Animation Overlord, like internally consistent within that world. So the believability comes from the consistency. But beyond that, then what draws people in, right, is the thing about them that makes them unique and makes you want to figure out why. Why are they like that? Where did that come from? And how does that?
If they're going to be abnormal or abnormal, you better have a good explanation.
Exactly.
Or at least make the character charming enough to distract you from the fact you don't understand why they're different.
Yeah.
Well, here's something too, right? Is like people in real life are terribly inconsistent and will also do some really stupid things. And when you see that in a story, it's always used as like a way for lazy storytelling. So it's almost like using something that's, you know, something that's plausible in real life, you know, or even probable, you know, a character acting stupid or whatever.
Like people leaving a library.
Is unrealistic, yeah. Well, it's like, people acting the way did in the library. Yeah, there are 8 billion people in the world. Of course, they're going to have some stupid people. They're going to act stupid in these scenarios. But it's still unbelievable, like, right? But even if you saw that exact same type of storytelling, it's not really storytelling, but like in a real life depiction, it's like it's way more entertaining now. Like Hacksaw Ridge, you know, like some of the stuff he did was like unbelievable, but then they're like, no, it actually happened, and you're like, oh, that's awesome. Right?
Yeah. Or like characters that may be entertaining in books, real life, kind of assholes. You'd be really annoyed by them in real life.
Yeah. So it's almost like you have to write unrealistically. You know,
that's fair.
Yeah.
They have to be intriguing, but they have to feel like people that would exist in their setting that they're in. Like a character in Gurren Lagann, like the anime, for example, would not exist in another world believably, but in that world, they make the story, they make the world. It may, like in the world where you having fighting spirit and willpower and screaming can create mass and energy by the laws of that universe. Those characters make sense in that world, which I love. Also, Cycles of the Apocalypse. Thank you, Justin.
Off topic.
Freaking perfect.
The unicycle ones are killing me, bro. I don't know.
Yeah, Tim can't see him, but dude, stop it! Stop it! We're running a show here. We're talking about unrealistic or realistic characters.
Speaking of unrealistic characters, this is the last one.
Yeah.
Share it.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know. Wait,
Son of it. It's coming back. There it is. It's back. There we go. That's also how you ride a unicycle, just in case people were wondering.
Well, you want to talk unrealistic? It's like give your character write a Mary Sue, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's a character without flaws, right? It's unrealistic.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like whenever you get those characters when they have a conversation where the dialogue plays out in the way that it's the kind of thing where after the conversation happens, later you're like, oh, I should have said that thing. But that's how they write it. It's all those thoughts they had later, and it just feels so unnatural. And like, this conversation would never occur this way. No one is this fast on their feet in this kind of situation.
Only if the character is either very intelligent or very quick-witted. If you have one character that's like that, that makes sense. We've all met that person.
Yep.
Well, you
or
also
tried
can't
to be that person.
You can't just say, "Oh, this person's intelligent." You have to prove it in the writing, right?
Yeah,
like you have to show it. You have to give examples of why this guy's so smart.
You have to show them when they were
and-
younger, working as a janitor at a high-end Ivy League college, solving a secret math equation no one else can.
Talking about them apples. Yeah, that's
Well, see,
that's what I was
sorry.
getting at. Oh no, that's what I was going to say. It's if it's set up in the story that this is possible, but I've seen stories where it's sort of they're just that way. You know, they just have it. It's like, come on, nobody's.
Well, what's
like that.
annoying is when all of them are, right? Or even
Yeah.
if it's just the main character, you can justify it. But yeah, it's like the author is having that conversation they meant to have that they've recited in the shower 10,000 times. You know,
Yep.
like that's so annoying to read or to watch.
Yeah.
And I think if you like, you know, a good storyteller has a variety of characters. They're not all the same, and that's the point. Is that variety has to extend also
Coming
to,
up with realistic and individual character voice is very important. It's
Yeah.
very, very,
And
and it's
again,
but
actually
also
not
varied
a super easy
intelligence,
thing
right?
to
Like
do.
that's a real thing that you have to be able to depict is characters at different levels of thought and intelligence and maturity and everything else, right? Like,
Yeah, and
humor.
I also hate in shows or books where the smart characters are always able to get out of situations where their intelligence doesn't play as big of a factor as it should. It's like the dumb guy who's really good at beating the crap out of people, probably going to do better in a locked room with the smart guy than the smart guy's going to do with him.
Right.
Just saying, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, having just characters having stupid moments in general, and again, it's realistic for characters to have stupid moments, but yeah, there's something about that's instantly recognized by people as unbelievable. Yeah, I don't know.
As unbelievable or
Yeah, if you have characters acting stupid, like unless like obviously comedy breaks the rules a lot on this, but it's just a character acting stupid. Even for characters that act stupid all the time, it registers to a customer as like plot convenience.
yeah.
You can work it, but you don't want it to be your main character, because if you do too often with a main character, they just look incompetent, and no one really wants to follow an incompetent protagonist.
Right.
Yeah. I'm reading a book right now where that's exactly what's going on, and I don't know if I can finish it because it's so frustrating.
Yeah,
'Cause
I've read a couple
It's the main
books like
character,
that,
and
yeah.
they're so dumb.
Well,
You know,
it's like how many times do
similar
people
experience.
say it's like there's nobody that's this dumb, but I convinced somebody.
He was a
in high
Marine.
school-
He knows people are that.
Well, no, I convinced somebody in high school that our continent is floating on water. Because I was like, I was like, oh, at beaches, like if you dig deep enough, there's water, right? Like there's entire water channels that go under our the United States, and they take submarines under them. And she's like, really? He was like laughing. He was like, stop it, Joe. Joe, stop it. Just, like, he was
Damn it,
like,
Joe.
He was pissed and also like, this can't be real, right?
Joe, we've
no,
told you, they're special ed. They don't need this kind of extra challenge.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. Never underestimate how dumb people can be. Just don't make that one your main character.
My dad used to do bicycle tours coming down from Haleakala on Maui. One person looked over at Oahu, like however many miles away. It's like, oh, what is that? Is that like one of those Asian countries? And my dad's his partner in crime at the time, the guy named Coco, who liked Coco a lot before a bicycle tour. Anyway,
It was an okay movie.
he was up there and he's like, oh no, yeah, that's Japan. She's like, oh wow,
I knew it. I told Richard. I told you.
3,000 plus miles away. I can see Japan. Oh my god.
Well, people want to overcome. They want the characters to overcome challenges, right? As readers as well. Mm-hmm. And like, let's say the challenge is you're an obstacle course, right? And one of the obstacles just collapses before he gets to it, and then he just jumps over it. It's like, well, that's not entertaining, and it's kind of what you're doing by adding a stupid character in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I can feel that. Another big one, another one that where you have characters that don't feel believable is where they have very modern ideas, mentalities,
Yes.
and such in a setting that would not logically produce that kind of a person.
Yep.
If you can have a character that's kind of like that to a point, but you have to have some justification for why they are the way they are. And
right,
it's a
that's
tough
like,
sell. It's a tough
Oh,
sell.
I just saw somebody mentioning too, like they say okay in fantasy, like it happened in Rings of Power. They're like okay, and it's like that's terminology that came about in like the 1800s. So it's like they wouldn't be saying, modern words, right? Modern language.
That's have you guys ever read Connecticut Yankee and King Arthur's Court?
No.
No, can't. You've read a book I haven't read. I'm impressed and surprised.
Oh no, I just started it. It's Twain, and it's free on Audible. It's narrated by Nick Offerman, but that's the first chapter's like that. It's what the story is. A guy gets transported, and so it's like the differences in just how people operate and all that sort of thing.
That reminds me of Stephen Fry. He did his own version of the Greek retellings.
Yes.
Which is a really good read, actually, very informative and historically interested as well. But
you listen to
the
audio
dialogue is all written as if they're all like bums living in the streets of London, mate. And hearing him read it out loud is with like all this Greek dialogue with a really horrible British accent is really quite funny.
Yeah, I love it. Those audiobooks are amazing. I've read and listened because it's so entertaining.
It's very entertaining, and he adds some stuff in. Anyway, we're getting off topic, but it's very good.
Yeah.
Always with the off-topicness. Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, Bats loves it when we go off schedule.
He loves tangents. He likes when we're not on time or.
Dude, I get so antsy about that.
So good.
But
I know, which is why we're such a great team, because I don't care, and it just works.
Balances
balance,
it.
you know?
Yeah.
yeah. But I guess we said what we need to say.
I can't remember where we were.
But
We talk about dumb characters. Now we talk about
dumb characters. That's it.
well, I mean, even like in unbelievable worlds, like unbelievable characters are like more believable, right? It's just I feel like we're saying believable, but nobody really actually means believable, right? It's just I think it's the best word that kind of fits how you feel when it happens, when you see a character that's unbelievable, but that's not really actually properly describing what's going on. What are we all looking at?
Also, bring up animation's last comment.
Yeah, that is a good point.
I'm more lenient on the language thing because you can't change how characters talk, but so much before the audience can no longer follow along. It is a balancing act.
Yeah. Well, something like Rings of Power though, where you got
like
Tolkien,
late stage Game of Thrones, Rings of Power.
Yeah.
They really make it sound like modern language. Like you can balance it a little bit for sure, and you have to because if you wrote it all like in old Ye English text, it would be indecipherable for most people.
Yeah.
Unreadable.
This Sauron character, he's skibbity. He has Elriz, no cap.
I might throw
Hey,
up.
I remembered what the thing that stood out to me there though that I wanted to respond to, and that's just the imposing of it's not just language, but it's personality, or not even ideology. Really, at the end of the day, we're talking about ideology,
Mentality as well.
propaganda.
Yeah, mentality, right? Like some of these books that come out, these that I've read, and even in this college program when I was in it 2 years ago, and I was seeing what some other, even what some of my friends were writing, and they were trying to write fantasy with characters out of today with their mentality and ideology, and you're just like, this doesn't fit. It doesn't fit the setting. And you're just preaching at me, and that's not why I'm reading this book.
Imagine
CO2 emissions coming out of that dragon fire.
Oh my
no
gosh,
problem.
yes. Like seriously though, that's not far off from some of these things.
No, I've read books where they talk about stuff like that, and it just
Dragons
pisses
and climate
me off
change.
on
Like
beyond all
lost me at that point. We aren't
The
even
dragon
from-
farts, the method.
Or
just
Tim, you've read quite a bit. Tell me if you heard this before. The small town farm girl with really hyper feministic ideals.
Oh
yeah.
Dude,
And then being lauded by the governing bodies for her ideas. as
There's
well.
like a mockumentary or like something on Netflix. It's like some, I don't know what country it's from, but it's like a backwoods like town or whatever, like back in the like 1600, or I don't know how 1300s, however fucking long ago. And yeah, they're like the town jarl's like girl is like going around preaching feminism and like and global warming and stuff, and they're just like, yeah, she's hot. Like I'm gonna try to it's a comedy. It's
right.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
that makes it better. But I've watched shows where they actually do that. Like there's this doctor show that came out a while ago, and my buddy sent me a clip from the episode. He's like, "What the hell happened to this show?" I'm like, "I don't watch it, but I watched the clip." And the person had cancer because of, what was it? Like subtle racism or something like that, or unknown, subconscious racism was the cause of her cancer. I'm like, whoa.
Wow. Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, you were a dark girl, like you have a darker skin tone and you have different ethnicity, and you're adopted by white parents, and they didn't mean to, but it's because of. I'm like, what the fuck is this shit?
Yeah.
Like, holy
Tim, tell us more about the modern storytelling that you've heard.
Well,
Give us some good examples.
Oh, see, okay. Let me say this one thought before I forget it. I could write it down. But the other extreme can be unbelievable too. You know, where I feel like as a backlash to what we're talking about, these just ridiculous things thrown into the settings where they do not belong.
Mm-hmm.
The other extreme,
absolutely, yeah. Gun rights in medieval times.
Sorry, say it.
Said like gun rights in the medieval times, or just weapons
sword
in
rights.
general. Yeah, sword rights. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I mean,
Second Amendment defense.
I need my sword to defend my home.
According to the second pronouncement by the king, we are allowed to carry swords anywhere for any reason. I'd be like,
concealed daggers. Sorry.
Yeah.
The king is not the god.
The local constable has proclaimed that any leather grips on daggers can make them a more effective weapon of war, and therefore cannot be used. Knives with leather handles. There you go.
Yeah,
Yes.
you can have a flail, but it only is allowed to have 2 links. You can't have more than 2.
Can we write this book? Guys? Can we write this book? Can we write like an anti-gun and
Shit,
pro-gun?
what's that trigger called? The fucking
Hair?
No, the trigger that's banned.
A switch, a bump
Bounce?
stock?
Bump stock, yeah, but it's a bump flail. we outlawed bump flails.
It's
got a fully auto crossbow.
they have a switch on the crossbow. Oh, looks like they ground off the maker's mark. Huh? I guess this is report
Off
this.
the wood. He's
Is
like curving.
this an illegal crossbow modification? You bump stock.
You've shortened the springs to make it have a stronger draw pull. You know this will kill people more effectively.
I think we just stumbled on a bestseller, boys.
I believe I should be able to own a catapult.
It's what the
The king has no right to tell me what kind of catapult.
If the king can have catapults, I can have catapults. By golly.
I say, I must have a trebuchet.
All right.
All right. Anyway, we'll meet next week. We'll figure out the whole thing, and yeah.
I feel like it's a good place to end. We're coming up on 2 hours. Subscribe if you haven't, guys. All right.
Science in storytelling.
Oh no. We're it's 2 hours.
Oh.
Yeah.
We'll save it.
I feel like we
I gotta
covered
go to
that. I feel
bed.
like science was in there. We talked about the deniability of
Yeah,
tomorrow
yeah.
stuff. Yeah, you know.
So about these cycles.
There are more that have been added since we talked last.
We didn't even talk about tricycles, so I mean, you're not wrong.
Knew there's more.
Hey, what were those like short tricycles? Like the big wheels? Is that what they were called? Yeah. Big wheels of the apocalypse.
Oh yeah. Back on the AI here.
So stupid.
All right, Tim. Anything you want to mention before heading out?
Nah, I think we covered the basics. The book is live on Amazon, hardcover, paperback, and ebook. New cover coming. So if you want to get this one, this is when it's available. And audiobook definitely, hopefully in the works soon, and at the latest by early 2025. I want to start working on the audiobook. Ideally sooner, but we'll see. Something is in the works. Just got to confirm.
Look forward to it.
Sweet. Justin, anything to shill, my man?
I don't think so. The new song I did with Chill Kid is still out on all streaming platforms. I got another one coming out at some point and working on other stuff, but nothing new. But it's all still there. You can jump on any streaming platform, type in Evely Music or just Evely, listen to my stuff. And of course, Friday nights I'm also on that other show. I can't remember the name of it. It's with some other
Friday
fellas.
Night Tights, obviously. That's it.
Yeah. Iron Age Knights. So yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah.
All right. Well, guys, I'm on my quest to 500 subs.
Oh, I thought you were
I'm
going to say
past-
you're going to kill more animals with your dog leash.
I blew past 300. AC stood no chance once my orc video came out, and that is less than 100 views from 3K now. So check it out.
Hey.
Share it around. It's a good ass video. Orcs are becoming pussies. We need to talk about that.
Hashtag not my orcs.
Yeah. But
Hashtag
yeah.
orcussy.
Help me get to 500 subs. That'd be cool, man. Besides that, yeah, I'm just working on the IC stuff, man, and I'm gonna try to do a video that's decently edited every week
man.
on my channel. Yeah.
And you have new powerful tools for it, from what I've seen.
Oh,
so,
dude. Oh, yeah, guys, look for Comic Shop Wednesday.
Just
I
you
got a
wait.
surprise
It's-
coming for
man, it's
for Comic Shop Wednesday.
so good.
And so next week, we talk about next week.
I don't see why not. I mean,
Go
worst case
ahead.
scenario just falls through and we got to change our plans. But hey,
Yeah, okay.
Go on, kid.
So next week we have a special guest. We have a crossover event. The Iron Age Knights, Royce from A Drink from Crazy, and Daniel P. Riley, Whimsyland, will be joining us on the Iron Seas.
we're doing team up action flicks.
Yeah, team up
Oh, that's
action
gonna be fun.
flicks. And
Except
look on
they,
my Twitter
except
for
they,
some
they don't
great
want me to win,
advertising.
so they keep disqualifying my movies.
Which was there's a lot of
Propaganda.
clarification on what that term
frankly,
means and
they're
what counts
against
and
freedom
what
of
doesn't.
expression and freedom of ideas.
We want a fair election, all right?
yeah.
Yeah,
we're gonna have a
put-
fair 4 a.m. ballot dub. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, stick around, guys. There's gonna be some great trolling. I got some things prepared. Who knows? Maybe we'll have a core debate.
Oh boy.
All right, okay.
I was like, how long
joining
is
us.
this gonna go?
On the Iron Seas with Mr. Tim McKay as our guest. See you next week, every Tuesday, 6:30 PST, the Lord's time. See you there.
Oh, wait, shit! I'm not ready. God damn it! What is happening?